A very good morning to all the participants to the second day of this conference on reimagining the role of teachers and technology in the context of COVID and NEP. मैं अलीना काज़मी आपकी होस्ट फॉर दिस सेशन आप सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स का वेलकम करती है आज के इस सेशन में। जैसे कि आप स्क्रीन पर देख सकते हैं हमारा जो आज का ये सेशन है दिस वर्कशॉप 3 इसकी थीम है ह्यूमंस एंड नेचर टीचिंग चिल्ड्रन टू को एग्जिस्ट विद देयर एनवायरमेंट। तो जैसे कि हम जानते हैं कि पिछले कुछ महीनों में हमें काफी समय मिला है जहां पर टीचर्स घर से पढ़ा रहे हैं, स्टूडेंट्स घर से पढ़ रहे हैं, ज्यादातर काम घर से हो रहा है। So we have had enough time to sort of look at ourselves, relook at ourselves and relook at our actions. इस समय में काफी विषयों पर चर्चा हुई। इन विषयों में से एक विषय था एनवायरमेंट को लेके, क्लाइमेट चेंज को लेके। एंड इट इज हाई टाइम एंड वी हैव रियलाइज दैट वी नीड टू हैव, एंड स्पेशली एज फ्यूचर एजुकेटर्स, as soon we are going to step in and start teaching kids. So as future educators, it is very important for us to start discussing on this. So इसीलिए आज यहाँ पर हम सब वी हैव एक्सपर्ट्स विद अस, और यहाँ पर हम इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के माध्यम से एकत्रित हुए हैं आप सभी से इस विषय पर बात करने के लिए। तो वंस अगेन अ वेरी वार्म वेलकम एंड अ वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग टू आवर एक्सपर्ट्स हियर एंड all the participants who have joined us. सो यहाँ पर आगे बढ़ने से पहले जो हमारा आज का सेशन है जिसका नाम है ह्यूमंस एंड नेचर टीचिंग चिल्ड्रन टू को एग्जिस्ट विद देयर एनवायरमेंट, आगे बढ़ने से पहले गुरुशाला के बारे में थोड़ा सा जाने। गुरुशाला इज एन इनिशिएटिव ऑफ इंडस स्टार्स लिमिटेड एंड वोडाफोन इंडिया फाउंडेशन विद जिज्ञासा एज इट्स कंटेंट पार्टनर एंड इम्प्लीमेंटेड बाय प्रथम एजुकेशन फाउंडेशन। तो यहाँ पर आगे बढ़ने से पहले मैं क्विक एक्टिविटी करवाना चाहूंगी हमारे सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स के साथ। सो यहाँ पर आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट ऑल द पार्टिसिपेंट्स टू टेक अ मोमेंट टू देमसेल्व्स एंड शेयर विद अस इन द कमेंट सेक्शन, in the comment section, in the chat box of this video, share with us an activity. The activity here is called Chatpad Java, and as you can see, the Q is on screen where you have to share with us in the form of an emoji the name of your favorite animal or bird. So here we would like to keep it very flexible. So you can also share the name of a bird or animal जो कि आपने last देखा हो. For example, if you have seen a dog recently, so you can just share an emoji of a dog, and whatever animal or your favorite bird, so you can share with us in the comment section in the form of an emoji. So this is a warm up activity for you all because we have some interesting presentations planned for you. So let's just see if our participants can do some quick work and share some emojis with us. So we can see on our screen that we have already started to receive some answers. So if I can see, I think it's a dog. Participants can also sort of write the names with the emojis just to make it easy for us to understand. Okay, so we can see one snake also we have with us, and then we have a parrot here, we have a cat here. So I think this is getting exciting. So we have two animals here, and we can see that in the comment section participants have started to share a lot of emojis. So thank you so much for participating in this activity, and please keep your responses coming. So here we would sort of start our presentation. Right. So thank you so much, all the participants, for participating in this activity. Now, I would like to introduce our panelists who have joined us for this conference session. We have with us Yeah, we have with us Dr. Sridar Babu from TERI, the Energy and Resources Institute, Bangalore. We have with us Ms. Amrtha Kasturirangan and Ms. Swati Bansal from India Water Portal. And we also have with us Ms. Neha Raghav from WWF India. Thank you so much, experts, for joining us. And once again, a very warm welcome. Right. So, without any further delay, I would request, I would suggest that we start with our first presentation because I think our हमारी जो participants हैं उनका warm up भी हो गया. Now they are all ready, all set to listen to what our experts have to say. So here, I suggest that we go ahead with Dr. Sridhar first. So, Dr. Sridhar, the screen is all yours. And
Thank you.
yeah, so before you start with your presentation, I would just want to take a moment and introduce Dr. Sridhar. Dr. Sridhar is a fellow and area convener of Environmental Education and Awareness Area, Southern Regional Center of TERI, Bangalore. He has been working on various outreach activities on energy saving, etc., and has also been supervising several activities in the area of environment, including water issues, etc. So we are glad to have you here with us on this panel. Thank you so much. And please go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Ali. And thank you, all the present on the board and the participants. It's been a wonderful morning. Very good morning to all the participants. Without wasting much of your time, let me proceed to talk to you on the energies and the demands and challenges we have. So all of you have, in fact, been using this mode of work from home culture during this pandemic, and you have been using electronic and electrical gadgets for a period of time. And of course, after this pandemic, it has been more usages because work from home has made us consume. So one important point that we need to keep in mind is that energy, the network facilities that we wanted, and most of us have also gone in for new set of equipments that we wanted in terms of delivering sessions or handling classes. So of course, all of you, the aspiring teachers will definitely would have experienced this to do your assignments. And let us now check to understand. I will not get into basics of what type of energy and difference is, but let me tell you, put you the facts how it is. So if you look at the energy share of this country, the total energy what we get, I think you should be clear in this. Major share for us is from the thermal energy. What we call the thermal energy is basically burning of coal. So it could be the mix of coal and lignite, of course, because anthracite coal, all this makes part of the coal component. So if you look at the thermal energy, what we get, so if you look at this slide, the total 61.9 or 62% is majorly by the thermal energy or the energy by coal or burning of these fuels, which is important for you to make a note and also very important to bring it to the minds of the young students because why it is this has an impact on environment, why it is there is emissions that we are letting into atmosphere, why it is because the emissions that stays in atmosphere will have an impact on the greenhouse gases will have an impact, and at the same time that would further lead to climate change impacts in the low lying areas. So all of you know that basic. So this we need to look at breaking down how best we can improvise on it. Otherwise, coming down to renewable energy, as of now we have 12.2%, and again a question could come in. Can we increase hydro energy? The challenge is, I think we have come to a maximum where we can, except for small portion of micro hydral. I don't think we can go in for mega hydral projects because we don't have, because the land we had, the space we had that which is suitable for this kind of dams, and there are other environmental factors to it, the subsidence of land, loss of forest areas, biodiversity, and so on. So these are important, which we may not have that area. Then the next is the technology-driven nuclear. Again, once the moment we say it's nuclear, in the mind of the common man, there are various issues that strikes. They say, how safe it is, can we go for it, or should we really looking for something else? So this kind of, with all that, with the precautions taken, with the best of best technologies we have, we are able to reach just 1.8%. Then we have the renewable energies. So So what is this renewable energy? Again, the small hydel project also falls under renewable energy. And you know the biomass gasifiers, the wood pellets and the agriculture byproducts have been converted into pellets, and that have been used in gasifiers for could be for heat or energy. Then biomass power. So again, we have also moving on to utilize the urban and industrial waste to generate power. That is one. Solar and wind energy. So this data, whatever is provided to you, is as latest as 31/10/2020. So this is what the Indian total numbers is. Can we move to next slide? So if you look at this slide, so again, this is only to give you an idea what is the demand in Asia area. So if you look at the graph, you can see China, India, and then followed by other countries. But again, if you look at the Indian component, so what was increasing, decreasing? I mean, this is don't scratch much, think much on these numbers. It is just an identical indication that how we are kind of increasing the demand. If you see this graph here, so the increased demand increases as you move towards 2030, 35. Again, further demand would increase. So the important is we have to see how best we can reduce the consumption and how best we can be eco-friendly. Next one. Most important, all of us should understand, because this part only energy engineers or auditors would know this fact, but not most of us know this. We know the coal is burnt and the energy is generated. Let us forget the first part, that the efficiency is about 30 to 40, not more than that. So at a power plant itself, we have a losses of 60 to 70% losses. So let us let us not take the point of the power point or the plant. Let us calculate the energy that starts from the power plant. So after it lets into the grid. So let us calculate from there. Now your question could be, why so much loss? So much loss could be because of the system, how old it is, the functioning of it, the quality of coal we are procuring, the ash content in it, the moisture content in it. So many factors goes into it, and therefore the efficiency, the best of best across the world would be 45 max. I'm not sure. I think my colleagues from energy group say it could not be more than 50. I mean, even that would be a highest number. So in that case, 30 is what we take for our purposes. So if you look at the transmission and distribution losses, the question is here, you would see as you pass by on your highways, when you go to your hometown, you would have seen the high tension wires, very big ones drawing lines. These are the ones which come from main grid, wherever it is generated, from there it is getting distributed. So if you look at it, comes distributed to the local substation and from there to the city. So the transmission and distribution losses would be about 11% of the energy generated. So first point, let us forget the power plant, how much ever is generated. Let us say about 10 units of energy is generated from one point. So I'm just giving you an identical number. From there, the distribution losses would be about 11%. Then coming down to the systems that we have in place, so you have the motor losses. We are talking about the motor system. We are talking about that, again could be another 10%. The pump efficiency, another 25% we lose. And then we further have the losses because of the tweeting problems. So this, so in a nutshell, I would say, if 2 units of energy is generated, what is coming out from the plant, let us not take as a plant, again it's a huge number. So from, if 2 units of energy comes out from the plant, maximum I receive at the end point is just 1 unit. So therefore we have to look at why it is important. This, all this has an impact on climate change, all this has an impact on environment. So therefore we have to see where best we can improve. So can we improve our transmission and distribution losses? Can we improve on the motor? So I'll give you a classical example. All of us would have motors at home. If not a bigger one, at least a small pump for a sump where we will be pumping water to the overhead tank. So let us understand. So now Many a times there are sensors in some cases. In some cases there are no sensors. Only sensor is once the overhead tank overflows, then we automatically switch it off. Even that 5 minutes extra you take, that is a loss of energy. So added to that, let me also put you, there could be a trickling taps at home. Most of the houses, we may not even pay that importance for single drop. So you calculate yourself, keep a bucket, and many a times overnight that bucket is filled with trickling drops. So that loss, how many thousand liters you lose in a year, and to pump that, how much energy is needed. Most importantly, what is the cost to the water? Because what you're wasting is not the wastewater; it is the precious drinking quality water. If you calculate and see as a byproduct, what you purchase is 20 rupees 1 liter drinking water, right? So municipal water, what is supplied is most of the time is to that same quality or even much better than that. So therefore, the importance is we have to pay very, very careful attention to even these minute things, be at home, be at school. So therefore, teachers play a major role in changing the mindset of children. So therefore, I would request you to pay importance here. Number one. Number two, most of us have our pumps, I said, to pump to overhead tank, right? So as I said, the pump efficiency itself drops by 10-20%. Then what you do is once the pump comes for repair, we rewind it. We rework the motors and start pumping it. So therefore, again, the efficiency drops. You do for 2-3 times, then automatically the efficiency drops less than 60%. So therefore, still we are using because for us the cost is less. If you look at return on investment, if you go for a good quality motors, then your return on investment will be much lesser than a year rather than wasting on your electricity bills. This most of the time we may not know. So this is important to be noted. Next one, please. So why this energy management? So the question is why do I need this energy management is a big question. So the energy costs have been fluctuating in the recent past. If you just relate yourself to what you have experienced as a child, what was your or per unit cost? As you grow up, what is your electricity bill, and now what is your bill? And if you look at this, there has been drastic increase in the electrical charges for various reasons because the raw material is increasing, the cost of transmission and distribution is increasing. We are going for new type of things and also reducing. I mean, if you ask me what is that losses that we are trying to plug in fact, the new equipments have come in. We had gone in for the best quality metering system and so on. So that is an entirely different topic. For your understanding, I think basically we have to understand the cost has been fluctuating in recent past, therefore we have to plug that. Then energy management strategies have resulted in saving money, which can be used for other requirements. So therefore, I'm not talking about house per se, definitely yes, but in a larger scale, be it an industry, be it an institution, especially schools and colleges where you are working, your energies at the lab, your energy that you are consuming at the common utility area, your energy you are using for pumping water, and your lifts that energy consumed there, all this can, how best it can be utilized. So if you can do a proper walkthrough and identify the areas, you can definitely reduce the wastage of electricity. Then wasting energy has a negative impact on the environment and contributes to global warming. As I said earlier, it directly has we become the culprit if we waste energy. So energy saved is made available to others. Therefore, as Mahatma Gandhi said, we have everything for our need, not for our greed. It becomes most important for us to understand that we have to definitely resources rather than abusing it. Next one, please. So the strategies, I'm putting it very simple because for an industry it is different, for a bigger scale it is different. For teachers, I'm just trying to put it in a very simple way. We have to do two things. One is conserving. The conservation is to avoid wasteful energy usage. Where there is not needed, you can always switch. So like, for example, what mistakes we do at home. You will be watching television. You will have your music system on. So now we have a luxury of using a remote system. So with your remote system, you just switch it off and you think the energy is not consumed. There is energy consumption even in that. So it could be less, but imagine the whole population of this country utilizing this less energy. It could be a huge volume that we are unnecessarily wasting every day. Even your mobile charger, if you keep it overnight without using but still switch on, there is a minuscule of energy that we are losing on it. then improving on the efficiency. So conservation is important, the efficiency improvement is also important. These are the two areas where you have to look at. So what is this efficiency? Now, earlier we used to have just one brand of equipment available, and whatever they tell us, we used to believe. But for a period of time, the government has brought in a lot of changes, and we have policies in place. And now we also have, all of you would have seen that star rating system. So the more the star rating, the energy consumption is less. There could be a small hike in the price, of course, for your quality of product, but definitely the return on investment would be very less. So therefore, if you're talking about high efficient equipment or 5-star rating equipment, then automatically you're going little green. That is what I could say. So these are the things we have to look in. We have to look in for new efficient equipments. We have to improve the process plants and so on. So all this can be taken care at each individual, not just the houses, but also at school level. Next one, please. So this is what I'm showing. So you would have seen this 2-star, 3-star, 4-star. So if you go the bigger the more the stars. So I have told you the 2-star will consume 680 units per year. So 5-star, this is just an example of one equipment. So 3-star is consuming 580 and 4-star is consuming 465 and so on. So this is how it is. So next slide, please. So the energy efficient benefits for industry and nation and globe, you can, it's a self-explanatory, reduce energy bills, it increases productivity, improved quality and increased profitability. And to the nation also, it improves energy security, avoids cost and can be used for poverty reduction and so on. So globally, it reduces the GHG and emission, maintains sustainable environment. Next slide, please. I have been asked to run through, so I'm just running to save time. So these are some of the missions. All of you, please go through this. What government has done to contribute towards the improvement on environment, energy, and so on. So next one, please. So this is how you can improve. This is some of our works that we have done. Efficient architecture, low energy systems, cooling systems. So therefore, there is no need for AC systems. So underground earth, the temperature will be low. So we are trying to utilize that through a duct, and this helps in passive space conditioning and improves the temperature. So therefore, during summer, there is no need for AC. So depending on the design, you can improve your space and comfort inside. Next one, please. So this is the solar panels, the waste recycling units, and so on. So you just see the slides. Maybe while I sum up, I'll tell everything. Next slide, please, because I have asked to be winding this in next 5 minutes anyway. So this is the Bangalore TERI Center, where we have used the black body behind to use it for solar chimney, where the impact to reduce the foul smell from the area. And if you see the right space, it is the skylighting. So we are trying to utilize the maximum natural light across the building and reduce. So conventionally, if you see, we are using renewable energy, we are using skylighting, and therefore the total energy demand compared to all commercial buildings or any building of this size, I think we are reducing almost 30 to 40%. Next one, please. So these are this is other TERI University of ours, which is in Delhi. Again, we have used all these concepts to improvise on, and both passive and active features have been incorporated. So these are more eco-friendly buildings. Next one, please. So next one. So these are some of our replication of our works of Griha we have done across in different buildings, and we have spread this across. Next one, please. So this is another project where we have spread across in different, I mean, this is self-explanatory. Maybe you can take the slides later. And we have tried to utilize and do a best green building projects across. Next one, please. So these are some of the acts that you can go through. What is this Energy Conservation Act of 2001 and so on. So how these came in, what are the changes, how BE has been instrumental in bringing the energy conservation and improvisation. So look into this. This would give you inputs. Next one. You can move out. Next. So coming down to waste management, I had been asked to do two. One is on energy, the second one is waste. The picture itself is self-explanatory. All of us have seen this, and knowingly or unknowingly, we are part of it. So honestly, let us touch upon our heart and say how many of us have thrown these masks during this period without knowledge into the environment system. So all of us would have done that. So we have to be little careful, and segregation is most important. Next slide, please. If you look at the types of waste, I will broadly say the classification into four. One is the industrial waste, the second one is the commercial waste, the third one is the domestic waste, fourth is the agriculture waste. The industrial waste, of course, from the whatever comes from factories and industries. The commercial, again, the schools and colleges fall under this commercial, because there is little mix of waste that comes here. Of course, colleges and schools are less, except one component we have to look into: labs, where we generate the chemicals from the labs. There is e-waste that we generate over a period of time after the life cycle is over of that product. Electrical and electronics is something that we throw out. So these are the things that we have to look. Otherwise, it is the fine dust cleaning, mopping, leaf litters, and so on. So all that can be recycled, brought back to the system. So domestic waste is all the same, what you generate from your houses. And of course, agriculture waste, what Delhi is facing now with this huge burning and the air pollution, is because of one of these agriculture waste. Of course, we have technology. We can use this. We can convert using the composites and convert that into pellets and reuse it. But of course, the question is how best we are making the technology available to the needy, and how we are simplifying it is what question is. Of course, all of us should work towards that in improvising. Next one, please. So if you ask me how you can classify these wastes, we can call it liquid waste, solid waste, organic waste, recyclable waste, and hazardous waste. Next slide, please. So this is most important. All of you should understand. For the teachers, this is most essential. All that we spoke in earlier two slides of the waste, the municipal waste becomes most important, because this is huge. Per capita today, I think, if I'm not wrong, we are generating very close to 2.5 kgs per household. Imagine how much we are doing it. I always give this example to most of my friends across. See, though plastic is banned, you should have remembered, you would have got at least one North Indian thali packed to your house sometime from a hotel. Imagine how many polythene bags come home. So at least 23 to 24 polythene bags come in. If you convert that 1 week, if we bring North Indian thali parcel, collect all that and make it into a big sheet of polythene, I think we can cover our entire house on the roof. Imagine, as an individual, if I'm doing this in 1 week, how many such parcels go every day, and how much we are dumping into environment. And then we talk about government should do, and this is the role of an environmentalist, it is the role of the government, it is a policy makers. No, it is each one of us. It is my role, your role, and the duty of every individual who is consuming it. We have to bring that change in the mindset. That is most important. So plastic waste, as I said, the most important, we need to address, because of its nature. We use and throw. We have to change our habits. We have adopted this use and throw culture. We have to come back. We have to uh, learn something from our traditional values and know how best we can reuse it, recycle it, or take something from our own. How many of us go to market to bring groceries and vegetables with our own bags? I'm not sure. So again, there could be a few percentage increase where we are doing it, but not true in all the cases. So we have to work on that. Of course, e-waste, this is most important. Tell me how many teachers who are listening to this session have changed your mobile last 5 6 months. We would have. Then what we have done to that mobile? We have checked it on some corner. So these kind of waste, we have to handle it very well, because battery is hazardous within that mobile. And this can definitely go in for recycling. You can always give it to the center where you're purchasing, whether they pay you some money or not, but still you can always do it. Then biomedical waste is most important, because of course, with the pandemic coming in, all of us know the pain that we have gone through. Waste, what is this biomedical waste? Basically, this is the waste from healthcare process. There could you think of small wound that you have on your finger. You would have used bandage. You would have used cotton. So this is the waste that we are trying to put it across. So think of this waste, how it should be handled. It cannot be mixed with the municipal waste. It should be handled separately, and it should be given. Then most important in urban centers is the construction and demolition waste, because we all going to demolish old buildings, reworking on the compound walls and all that. So now this demolition waste, I as a builder, I as a owner, I think it is my duty is to remove from my site and put it across wherever the empty site is. This is a major challenge to the administration, how to handle it. So therefore, we have to be little cautious. See wherever you can reuse this material. See how best you can bring it back to cycle. If not, find out an identified place through the sources, how best you can uh, put it in a place where it can be better used. Then is the hazardous waste. This is important for the teachers there. The chemical, toxics, inflammable, reactive, and explosive materials that we use in our laboratories most important. You need to keep that in mind. Otherwise, mostly in this case, it is for the industrial usages and other areas. So this is most important. We need to handle it. There are protocols. There are the laws that was established, and we need to look into. So battery waste. Next one, all of us have our vehicles, two-wheelers, four-wheelers, or whatever, if not UPS at home, and we know lead acid batteries are some things that we use. So therefore, each one of us become kind of responsible to handle it and properly rechange it. When you bring us for a new battery, ask that fellow to take it. So there is a established network where he will go and dispose it in a proper way. And then finally, the nuclear waste. Not in most of the cases, but very few laboratories are using. But otherwise, all these labs which are using radioactive waste should be from AERB. Again, radioactive waste is generated from the hospitals. So most of the cases it is also used in some research centers, some colleges. We also use this radioactive material. So therefore, mostly it is established. We reuse and bring down the usage of the spent fuel because radioactive. The name itself says there is still some activity going on till the end. So the last part we utilize that and bring down till the final usage and dispose it. Next slide, please. So I think all of you should go through the ambitious mission of government, which started the Swachh Bharat mission. So whatever we were talking on the energy or whatever, or the waste. So this mission was started by the government in two phases. So first phase lasted till October 2019, which started in 2014 to commemorate with the 150th anniversary of Sri Mahatma Gandhi. Second phase now between 2021 to 24-25. So this has played a major role, and personally, I have visited during my couple of surveys that even the rural areas have been much benefited, and people are becoming little conscious. Only thing is that tempo should continue, and we should not contribute to pollution again. Once we have learned, we have to practice it. Next, please. I think I have come to the end of my presentation. To teachers, I would say three, four tips. One, please try to use the energy in a very judicious way. And today we know. So, for an example, if I say we used to use those bulbs, incandescent bulbs, then we came for tube lights, then we came for CFLs, then we came for LED. So, if you ask me what is the benefit, because all of us would look in kitna mileage data is what our concern is. So, what is my saving? So incandescent bulb it consumes. I'm just giving you a number. 50 paise for a given hour of energy. The tube light used to consume 20 paise, and your final LED is now consuming just 5 paise. So therefore, you think how beneficial it is and how best we are bringing in, and the life cycle is increasing to this. So that is how it is. Number two, try to, whenever you go to purchase your equipments, electrical, electronic gadgets, please go in for star rating, the best star rating, and ISO rating. So they are the standard ones. Don't go for cheaper ones. This will add up. If your electrical and electronic items, what you purchase in the local market without ISO, ISI emblem on it, it could be something fabricated that would also have an impact on the distribution system of your whole house that we don't understand. So that is second. And third, there are many things that we can do in a house. You think that see, all of us would have felt this. Suddenly in a summer you come home and put your ceiling fan on. Suddenly you get that hot air pushing onto your face. You would have felt that. So this is because that roof is exposed to sunlight. So paint that roof in white in color. So 50% of radiation is back, and keep some exhaust kind of a thing at the roof level. Make 3-inch hole, put your pipes and give that exhaust, and your temperature drops to 2 to 3 degrees. Small practices can be done. School, please do cross ventilation, proper ventilation across. And most of the schools and colleges are daytime. There is no need for light. You can very well utilize your sunlight naturally and reduce the usage. Third, most of the schools have open roof, bigger area. Please try to use kind of convince the management to go for solar panels across, so you can use the energy for your consumption and totally come out of grid. So that could be a small contribution you're doing to the nation. So therefore we can reduce the impact of the greenhouse gases, and solar energy can be used. So these are some of the tips I would say. And if you have anything, you can come back to me. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sridhar, for giving us so much of information and especially for summarizing so much into small capsules for us. So, once again, thank you so much for this presentation. Dr. Sridhar here explained us about energy management, types of waste and waste management. So, डॉक्टर श्रीधर, यहाँ पर हमारे पास कुछ क्वेश्चंस भी हैं जो हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं वो आपसे पूछना चाहते हैं. In fact, we have some suggestions as well. Before we quickly take up those questions, we have one question for you. So, generally, it is believed that, uh, students or people living in rural areas, they are more connected to nature, and people living in urban areas, they are more distant and towards nature. So sometimes teachers may find it difficult to teach kids living in urban areas about energy management, about waste management, because obviously there's an assumption about the lifestyle of urban areas. So if you can throw some light on this question and share with us some tips or some ideas how kids can living in urban areas can be taught about energy
Well,
management or waste management particularly.
I would rather take it in two parts. One, it is not true in all cases where the urban population is. So it again depends on the sensitivity of the families per se, and the time that parents have to spend with their kids probably plays a major role in this. I would just say we had done a small program with to Bangalore Electricity Board here, BESCOM, and we involved about 120 institutions across, and we brought in about 2 lakh students on board to work on this in one of the projects where we trained them on the energy savings. So at the end of this training program, we could see each household had a remarkable saving, almost 5 units per household per student. So see, this changes. Why? Because the behavioral change should come in from within. So only thing is we have to tell them the importance. We have to bring them the connection to how we are losing it. They don't know the side effects of the abusing of energy. They are only thinking that it is available, I can use it. So many a times it is like I would recall about 5 6 years back, I had taken. I mean, I had gone out with my son. I asked him, I don't have cash on me. I have to wait for my salary to come in. And you know what he said? Just let us walk into ATM and get that money. I mean, they don't know where you get the money from or how it is into your account. So therefore, I think the education system, these kind of exercises should be part of their co-curricular activities, and students should be exposed from the energy generation point to the consumption point. Then they will know how best they can relate. I think by and large, students are beautiful people. They know they can really relate it to it. But only thing is we are not giving them opportunities to relate it.
Right. So this is a nice suggestion here. Thank you so much for that. So we'll take another question here. We have one question
Hmm.
by Ram. Uh, he's asking how we can provide the 24/7 electricity to Indian farmers.
Though this is not
Yeah.
in the topic, let me put it across now. First and foremost, as I said, the demand, there is a huge gap between the demand and that what we are providing. Number one. Number two, there is always an excess of the energy water that goes in. Another 2 days I can speak on that topic. Let me not touch on it. But however, all efforts have been made through these solar missions or the programs that we are doing. We are going to reach a surplus. Number one. Number two, even at the farmer's end, we need to look at how best you can use water. Just because there is power, there is water, I cannot flood my agriculture farms. We have to give them the technology, even at the agriculture, where how best I can use the minimum water and bring the best crop out of it. So these training, it should go hand in hand. Both agriculture department, both the agriculture universities and the electricity boards should work together to minimize the gap and give them the efficient equipment. So it could be pumping system. So most of the farmers, I mean, in my experience, I'll tell you, will not go in for new pumping systems. They will go for old, rewind, rework, and most of the pumps in southern India, you can talk about 1200 to 1800 feet deep. You can imagine what energy you need to pump that water out. Again, it's a flood irrigation. So you have to think of drip irrigation, and now even the improvised irrigation system that we have now. You can directly treat to the roots. So these kind of things have come in. I think we have to take advantage of it. There is definitely a gap. Definitely a gap. Improvising this, we can minimize that gap and see both the farmer is benefited out of it. I hope I answered Ram's question.
Right. So, thank you so much, sir, for your presentation and for taking up these questions. I would request to all the participants that please keep asking your questions. अगर आपके पास कोई भी question है डॉक्टर श्रीधर की presentation को लेके, you can note down, you can share with us in the comment section. We will take that question once all the presentations are over. So Dr. Sridhar is here with us. So now we would like to move ahead to our second presentation of the day. So thank you so much, Dr. Sridhar. Now we invite Miss yeah. Now we invite Miss Amrtha Kasturirangan and Miss Swati Bansal. So let me just take a moment and quickly introduce our experts for this, second presentation here. Miss Amrtha, as a part of the programs team at Arygham, currently handles the content for Scale Imagination and runs India Water Portal. She has also anchored some technology for water initiatives run by Arygham, such as the State of Sanitation and Arygham project that brought analysis and visualization tools to sanitation data. Ms. Swati Bansal here has worked in preparing catchment area treatment plans for the environmental impact assessment and environmental management aspects of hydropower projects and currently works as a consultant with the portal. So we have two experts here with us who will be speaking on the theme of using digital tools to teach children about water resource conservation. So without taking any more time, I would request Ms. Swati Bansal and Ms. Amrtha Kasturirangan to please start your presentation. The screen is all yours. Right, so soon we'll have the presentation here. So as you can see, we have the presentation on screen with us. Once again, I would request all the participants to keep their questions coming. We will take and address all the questions. Over to you, Swati.
Yeah. So, as Alina has already mentioned, that our topic is using technology to teach children to coexist peacefully with their environment, and I will be talking in the context of water. तो क्या क्यों ज़रूरी है टीचर्स के लिए अपने स्टूडेंट्स को वाटर रिसोर्सेज, वाटर कंजर्वेशन और उसके मैनेजमेंट के बारे में बताना? आई वुड स्टार्ट विद अ वीडियो ऑन सेविंग वाटर. तो जैसा कि हमने देखा कि पानी कितना प्रेशियस है और पानी एक लिमिटेड रिसोर्स है, एंड देखा जाए तो हमारे प्लैनेट पे सिर्फ 1% पानी ही अवेलेबल है जिसको हम अपने कंजम्पशन के लिए यूज कर सकते हैं. ये जो 1% पानी है इस पे भी बहुत दबाव है. साल दर साल पॉल्यूशन बढ़ रही है, पॉपुलेशन बढ़ रही है और पॉल्यूशन भी साल दर साल बढ़ता जा रहा है, जिसकी वजह से पानी पे प्रेशर बढ़ रहा है। एंड एट द सेम टाइम इस पानी के हकदार सिर्फ हम लोग ही नहीं हैं, बाकी सारे जो जीव जंतु हैं, पशु पक्षी हैं, उनको भी ये पानी यूज करना होता है अपने फॉर देयर लाइफ। तो इसलिए इस इस लिमिटेड अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ वाटर को हम कैसे यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं, सो दैट सभी जीव जंतु, सभी लोगों के लिए ये इसकी मात्रा एप्ट हो। देन साल दर साल हम देख रहे हैं, पिछले कुछ सालों में हमने देखा कि फ्लड्स, साइक्लोन्स और ड्राउट, इस तरह की समस्याएं बढ़ती जा रही हैं, एक्सट्रीम वेदर इवेंट्स बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, जो ये दर्शा रहे हैं कि क्लाइमेट चेंज जैसी जो समस्या है उसको हम फेस कर रहे हैं, और हमारे सामने एनवायरमेंटल क्राइसिस एक खड़ा है। कोविड भी एक उसका हिस्सा है। देन WWF नामक संस्था, नेहा राघव हमारे साथ पैनल में है जो इस संस्था से जुड़ी हुई हैं। सो इस संस्था ने इनका एक एनालिसिस है जिसमें उन्होंने बताया है कि अगर हमने कोई अर्जेंट एक्शन नहीं लिया तो 2050 तक पूरे विश्व में ऐसी 100 सिटीज होंगी जो कि पानी की बहुत बड़ी समस्या से जूझेंगी, और उन 100 सिटीज में से 30 सिटीज इंडिया की हैं। तो ये सब चीजें यही दर्शा रही हैं कि पानी का क्राइसिस कितना बढ़ने वाला है, और हमें उसके लिए कितना तैयार खड़े रहना है। देन today's children are the leaders of tomorrow, ये हम सब जानते हैं कि जो आज के बच्चे हैं वो कल के लीडर्स हैं, चेंज मेकर्स हैं, पीस मेकर्स हैं। तो एक एग्जाम्पल है, जैसे जो आज का बच्चा है, अगर आज का बच्चा 10 साल का है, वो 2050 में अगले 20 साल बाद, 30 साल बाद वो एक नौजवान होगा, 30 साल का, 40 साल का एक एडल्ट होगा, जो कि इस सोसाइटी का हिस्सा होगा, एक इकोसिस्टम का हिस्सा होगा। तो उसको हम अगर यंग एज से ही ट्रेन करने लगे, जो भी आने वाली समस्याएं हैं उनके लिए ट्रेन करने लगे, और उनको अभी से ही ये बताने लगे कि क्या क्या एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज वी कैन गो थ्रू, तो वो बच्चे एक यंग एज से ही समझने लगेंगे द कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज विच आर रिलेटेड टू वाटर एंड इट्स रिसोर्सेज। Then what are the activities teachers can use to sensitize children about water conservation? किस तरह की activities हम use कर सकते हैं? तो सबसे पहले है यूजिंग रियल लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस। जब हम कोई रियल लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस से बच्चों को कुछ सिखाते हैं तो वो उनपे बहुत एक महत्वपूर्ण प्रभाव छोड़ के जाती हैं। तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको एक एग्जाम्पल देती हूँ, जैसे अगर आपके स्कूल में रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग सिस्टम है, तो आप जब भी बारिश के सीजन में जितना भी रेन वाटर कलेक्ट हो रहा है उसका असेसमेंट कर रहे हैं, उसके लिए आप अपने स्टूडेंट्स को उसमें इन्वॉल्व कीजिए। इनफैक्ट अगर आपके स्कूल में रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग स्ट्रक्चर नहीं है तो आप उनको एक एक्टिविटी दे सकते हैं कि अपने घर जाके वो किसी भी बारिश के एक दिन पे एक बाल्टी पानी अपनी बालकनीज में, अपने टेरेस पे रखें और देखें कि एक दिन में वो कितना पानी कलेक्ट कर पाए हैं। तो इस तरह की एक्टिविटीज की जब ऑब्जर्वेशन आती है, एक तो बच्चे उनको बहुत इंजॉय करते हैं, और ये उनके लिए लाइफ में पूरी लाइफ उनके दिमाग में ये चीज छवि पड़ जाएगी कि व्हाट इज द इम्पोर्टेंस एंड द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग। देन महीने में अगर आपको जैसे बच्चों को समझाना है व्हाट इज वाटर स्कैसिटी या उसके व्हाट इज द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ वाटर स्कैसिटी, तो आप महीने में उनको एक ऐसा दिन दें जिसमें आप उनको बोलेंगे कि नहीं, आपको सिर्फ एक ही बोतल पानी मिलेगा या आपको लिमिटेड सप्लाई मिलेगा पानी का, और आपको ये पूरा दिन यूज करना है। तो उन्हें समझ में आएगा कि हाँ, इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट टू सेव वाटर। लाइक अलीना ने अर्बन सेक्टर के बच्चों को सिखाने के लिए बात करी थी, तो रूरल सेक्टर के बच्चे तो ये समझते ही हैं इस तरह की कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज, बट अर्बन सेक्टर के बच्चों को हम इस तरह की एक्सरसाइज दे सकते हैं सो दैट दे अंडरस्टैंड द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ वाटर स्कैसिटी। Then you can organize field visits to a nearby lake। कोई अगर आपके स्कूल के पास कोई लेक है, कोई पॉन्ड है, कोई वेटलैंड है, कोई ट्रेडिशनल वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग स्ट्रक्चर्स है जैसे कोई स्टेप वेल तो इन सब जगहों पे आप बच्चों को लेके जाएं। और आई वुड रिकमेंड कि अगर कोई आपके स्कूल के आसपास कोई पॉन्ड रिवाइवल हुआ हो, लोगों ने मिलके पॉन्ड को रिवाइव किया हो, तो वहां पे आप अपने स्टूडेंट्स को लेके जाएं, उनको लेके जाएं, वहां के लोगों से बात करें, तो उनको बहुत इंस्पिरेशन मिलेगा कि अपनी लाइफ में ऐसी चीजें करने का कुछ दे वुड लाइक टू डू समथिंग इन देयर लाइफ आफ्टर सीइंग दीज एक्सपीरियंसेस. Then we can sensitize children by showing them videos and involving them in theater activities हो गई या स्टोरी टेलिंग एक्टिविटीज हो गई, पपेट शोज हो गए, इन तरह की एक्टिविटीज में जब बच्चे पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं तो वो इन प्रॉब्लम्स के इम्पैक्ट को बहुत अच्छे से समझते हैं. उनको ये प्रॉब्लम्स की क्या क्या गहराइयां हैं उनको वो समझ में आती हैं. तो ये एक बहुत अच्छी एक्टिविटीज होती हैं जिसमें आप अपने स्टूडेंट्स को इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं और उनको सिखा सकते हैं कि क्या क्या वाटर रिलेटेड वाटर स्कैसिटी से रिलेटेड क्या क्या इम्पैक्ट्स हैं एंड व्हाट आर द सॉल्यूशंस. देन क्रिएटिंग चेंज मेकर्स. एक तो हो गया हमने बच्चों को सिखाया ये करना है. एक एक्सरसाइज हो गई कि उन्हें चेंज मेकर बनना है. दे हैव टू बिकम द चेंज मेकर्स. तो उसके लिए बहुत जरूरी है दैट दे गेट इन्वॉल्व इन ब्रिंगिंग दैट चेंज. जैसे आप बच्चों को बोल सकते हैं कि आपको प्रोएक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट करना है, टीम्स बनानी है अपनी कम्युनिटीज में, अपनी सोसाइटीज में, अपनी कॉलोनीज में, और आप उनको कोई भी थीम दे सकते हैं हर महीने या हर वंस इन 2 months. यू कैन प्रोवाइड देम विद थीम्स. जैसे कोई थीम हो गई कि सेव रेन वाटर, आई मीन हार्वेस्ट रेन वाटर, recycle waste and plug leaks. To save water you have to plug leaks and do water testing to find water contamination in your area. तो इस तरीके से बच्चे अपनी सोसाइटीज में, कम्युनिटीज में जाके इन सब इश्यूज पे अवेयरनेस भी स्प्रेड कर सकते हैं एंड एट द सेम टाइम दे कैन गेट इन्वॉल्व इन ब्रिंगिंग द सॉल्यूशन. इससे बहुत उनकी लाइफ में इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा. कैसे? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, एक तो उनकी इन इश्यूज से रिलेटेड जो भी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज आती हैं उससे उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग बढ़ेगी. दूसरा, उनको ये कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा कि यस आई कैन डू समथिंग. दे विल बी इंस्पायर्ड टू वर्क for their society. And third, they will understand from a very young age, they will understand their role and responsibility in their society, and the responsibilities they have towards their environment, towards their society, towards their communities. So this will bring a great inspiration to these children when they proactively participate. Then किस तरीके के डिजिटल टूल्स आप यूज कर सकते हैं अपने स्टूडेंट्स के लिए टू मेक देम चेंज मेकर्स. ऑफ कोर्स वीडियोस जो होती हैं एक पिक्टोरियल रिप्रेजेंटेशन देती हैं. तो ये जो पिक्टोरियल रिप्रेजेंटेशन होती हैं, ये बच्चों के दिमाग में एकदम बैठ जाती हैं. अगर आपने अपना एक्सपीरियंस भी देखा होगा, कभी कोई आपने एक इंस्पिरेशनल वीडियो देखी हो तो वो आपके दिमाग में, वो छवि बचपन में देखी है लेकिन वो छवि आपके दिमाग में रहेगी. So it is my personal experience that before coming into the water sector, I could never see a tap running. कोई टैप में नहीं, because I had seen a video of water scarcity, so I would never let any tap running wastefully. So this is the impact these videos have on children. So I would suggest that you must use them. ये short films हैं. These are around 13 award winning short films. These are available on YouTube. After the session, I think handouts would be provided to you, so the link for all the resources I would be telling you would be made available to the participants. So ये जो short films हैं, ये these are 13 award winning short films, और ये बच्चों का नजरिया ही दर्शाती हैं. तो जब बच्चे अपनी एज के बच्चों को देखेंगे कि हाँ उनके नजरिए से प्रॉब्लम्स को दिखाया है, वाटर स्कैसिटी की प्रॉब्लम को, या कैसे उसने एक छोटे बच्चे को पानी प्रोवाइड किया, तो इस तरह की जब वीडियोस बच्चे देखेंगे तो उनपे एक बहुत इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा। देन आप सक्सेस स्टोरीज बच्चों को दिखा सकते हैं। ये एक एग्जांपल है, जैसे एक 13 ईयर ओल्ड बच्ची ने एक डिवाइस इनोवेट किया है टू डिटेक्ट लेड कंटामिनेशन इन वाटर। तो जब बच्चे इस तरह की सक्सेस स्टोरीज देखते हैं कि उनकी एज के बच्चों ने कुछ किया है, तो वो बहुत इंस्पायर होते हैं कि वो भी कुछ करना चाहेंगे आगे लाइफ में चल के अपनी। Then this is a film which is called Green Warriors. It showcases how school children managed to preserve pond in Chandigarh. कैसे छोटे बच्चों ने एक pond को preserve किया चंडीगढ़ में। तो इस तरह की सक्सेस स्टोरीज जब बच्चे देखते हैं तो they are very encouraged to work for their society. Then I would also suggest that you go through India Water Portal's YouTube channel. उसमें बहुत सारी resources हैं बच्चों के लिए, and in fact as a teacher ये हमारी भी जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि इन इश्यूज को बच्चों को सिखाने से पहले हम भी इन इश्यूज को बहुत अच्छे से समझें, इनको इनकी गहराइयां जानें। तो ये जो यूट्यूब चैनल है इंडिया वाटर पोर्टल का, ये आपको बहुत सारी वीडियोस ऐसी बताएगा जिसमें आपके बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस इन रिलेशन टू वाटर एंड इट्स रिसोर्सेज वुड बी आंसर्ड। देन एक्सप्लोर गेम्स एंड क्विजेस। गेम्स और क्विजेस एक ऐसी एक्टिविटीज है जो कि बहुत इंटरैक्टिव होती हैं। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इसमें एक तो बच्चे बहुत इंजॉय करते हैं और खेल खेल में ही वो बहुत सारी चीजें सीख जाते हैं। सो यू मस्ट गो थ्रू इंडिया वाटर पोर्टल्स स्कूल सेक्शन, जिसमें काफी गेम्स हैं और फन वाटर साइंस एक्टिविटीज हैं। फन वाटर साइंस एक्टिविटीज आर बेसिकली द एक्सपेरिमेंट्स, जो कि सिंपल एक्सपेरिमेंट्स है फॉर ऑल ग्रेड्स ऑफ चिल्ड्रन, सब सारी क्लासेस के लिए हैं वो। तो इस तरीके के गेम्स और फन वाटर एक्सपेरिमेंट्स यू कैन कंडक्ट विद योर स्टूडेंट्स। देन ऑल्सो एक्सप्लोर एडुग्रीन। डॉक्टर श्रीधर को अभी हमने सुना, तो ये टेरी की ही एक प्लेटफॉर्म है एडुग्रीन, और वाटर प्रोजेक्ट का एक प्लेटफॉर्म है। इनको आप एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं। इन प्लेटफॉर्म्स में बहुत इंटरैक्टिव गेम्स हैं, वीडियोस हैं। तो इन प्लेटफॉर्म्स को आप करके बच्चों को ना कि सिर्फ कॉम्प्लेक्स इश्यूज के बारे में समझा सकते हैं, बट एट द सेम टाइम आप उनको जो कॉन्सेप्ट्स होते हैं रिगार्डिंग वाटर, तो वो कॉन्सेप्ट्स भी बहुत अच्छे से बच्चों को समझा सकते हैं। देन यू कैन एक्सप्लोर नेशनल ज्योग्राफिक एंड वाटर यूज इट वाइजली। ये प्लेटफॉर्म्स इंटरनेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं। सो शायद इसमें आपको इंडियन कंटेंट तो नहीं मिले, बट यू विल गेट lot of interactive quizzes and videos which you can utilize for your children. Then also I would really recommend the quizzes and word wall. ये जो प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, ये दोनों, इन दोनों प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे आप अपने कॉन्सेप्ट्स के अकॉर्डिंग, जो भी आपका क्लास लेक्चर चल रहा है उसके अकॉर्डिंग आप अपने क्विज और गेम्स डेवलप कर सकते हैं, और उन गेम्स को आप और इंटरेस्टिंग बना सकते हैं म्यूजिक ऐड करके। इट इज माय पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस दैट एज अ पेरेंट आई हैव सीन माय चिल्ड्रन एंजॉयिंग the quizzes that are made on quizzes and word wall. So I would really recommend that you please go through these platforms, and the best part is that they all are freely available, so you can avail them for yourself. Then you can also involve your students in working models. These are simple DIY do it yourself activities. जैसे simple activities हैं, इसमें एक हैंडपम्प बनाना है या एक स्प्रिंकलर बनाना है। तो इन एक्टिविटीज को जब बच्चे करेंगे एंड दे विल गेट इन्वॉल्व इन दीज विल हेल्प देम बूस्ट देयर इमेजिनेशन। और हमें नहीं पता, हो सकता है बच्चे इनसे बेटर वर्जन के साथ हमारे सामने आ जाए। दे कैन मेक बेटर इनोवेशन आउट ऑफ दीज। सो really make them utilize these resources that are available. Also, like books. बुक्स जो होती हैं हमारी स्कूल्स लाइब्रेरी में बहुत तरह की बुक्स अवेलेबल होती हैं, एंड देर आर ऑल्सो फ्यू बुक्स दैट आर अवेलेबल ऑनलाइन विच यू कैन यूटिलाइज. स्टोरी वीवर बाय प्रथम बुक्स इज अ रियली ग्रेट रिसोर्स दैट यू कैन यूज फॉर योर सेल्फ. ऑल्सो इस रिसोर्स की सबसे खास बात ये है कि ये बहुत सारी लैंग्वेजेस में प्रेजेंट है, तो आप अपनी लोकल लैंग्वेज के अकॉर्डिंग अपने लिए बुक चूज कर सकते हैं एंड अपने बच्चों को दिखा सकते हैं. जैसे इसमें this is the story of a girl and it is the case of the missing water. So इस तरह की water related stories आपको मिलेंगी, मिल सकती हैं. और भी तरह की हैं, but water और environment issues से related books आपको मिलेंगी. देन यूट्यूब पे बहुत सारे रीड अलाउड बुक्स हैं जो कि आप यूज कर सकते हैं. ये कुछ फोर बुक्स की लिस्ट जो मुझे अच्छी लगी वो मैंने निकाली. लाइक लिटिल रेन ड्रॉप, व्हाई शुड आई सेव वाटर, द वाटर प्रिंसेस. द वाटर प्रिंसेस इज अ स्टोरी ऑफ अ गर्ल. एक छोटी बच्ची है, उसको रोज सुबह अपनी नींद सैक्रिफाइस करनी पड़ रही है और अपनी फैमिली के लिए पानी फेच कर के आना पड़ रहा है अपनी मदर के साथ. सो इट इज शोइंग gender biases भी show कर रही है that it is the female's responsibility to fetch water, and also and it is showing the child's perspective what kind of emotional trauma and the child goes through because she has to fetch water, she has to sacrifice her sleep, she cannot go to school because she has to make the water available for her family. So this is a very good story which you can show your kids. Then also in India Water Portal's book and book section, book review section, you can find various books. Again, ये books बच्चों के लिए भी हैं और as a teacher आपकी अपनी understanding बढ़ाने के लिए भी इन books को आप avail कर सकते हैं. Then except for एक तो हम except for bringing that inspiring the kids about the water resources and about its conservation, there are also several educational resources that are available on YouTube, and they are very interactive also. Like जैसे simple concepts हो गए बच्चों के लिए. What is groundwater, what is rainwater harvesting, what is the difference between groundwater and surface water. तो इस तरीके के simple questions को भी काफी सारी ऐसी YouTube पे resources हैं जिनको आप use कर सकते हैं. There is Periwinkle, Peekaboo Kids, which is of course for smaller children, and also the TEDx talks, which is available on YouTube. It has so many success stories of people around who have worked on the issues of water conservation. So you can utilize these. These are for older kids, so you can utilize these for your students. So I would like to mention about the experiences that we had with engaging in children. So we have a school section on our portal. It is a collaborative web-based platform which can be utilized by the teachers, which has resources for teachers, students, parents in school. And in 2012, we had collaborated with Oracle Education Foundation to conduct a nationwide fluoride testing project for schools. तो ये जो प्रोग्राम था इसमें तकरीबन 1300 स्कूल्स ने पार्टिसिपेट किया था, और इसमें all over the country schools ने participate किया था. In fact, the Delhi Public School and केंद्र विद्यालय संगठन also participated in this. इस project के तहत फ्लोराइड टेस्टिंग किट्स स्कूल को प्रोवाइड करे गए थे, और बच्चों को बोला गया था कि वो ग्राउंड वाटर सैंपल्स को कलेक्ट करके उस पे फ्लोराइड कंटामिनेशन का टेस्ट करें. तो बच्चों ने उसको बहुत इंजॉय किया, एंड टीचर्स और स्टूडेंट्स दोनों ने ही उस को बहुत अप्रिशिएट किया उस प्रोजेक्ट को, एंड दे इन्फॉर्म्ड अस दैट दिस काइंड ऑफ एन एक्टिविटी रियली प्रोवाइडेड invaluable knowledge to children about fluoride contamination. तो जैसा मैंने आपको शुरू में बताया था about real life experiences, तो ये एक तरीके का real life experience ही है जो बच्चों ने बहुत enjoy तो किया ही, but at the same time they had they gained lot of knowledge about what is fluoride contamination. Then IWP India Water Portal has also involved in various activities with children. One of this was an interactive session that was conducted with the students at Nehru Memorial Museum and Library. इस सेशन में बच्चों को क्विजेस और वीडियोस दिखाए गए जो दोनों ही उन्होंने बहुत एंजॉय किए. And we had also partnered with for the निर्मल भारत यात्रा. इस यात्रा के दौरान बच्चों को सैनिटेशन और उससे होने वाली समस्याएं और हाइजीन से रिलेटेड, हाइजीन हम कैसे मेंटेन कर सकते हैं, उस तरह की बातों से अवगत कराया गया. एंड और बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग तरीके से, जैसे कि नुक्कड़ नाटक एक्टिविटीज हो गई या कोई फन गेम्स हो गए. जैसा आप फोटो में देख रहे हैं तो ये एक खो खो की तरह एक फन गेम है. तो इसके थ्रू बच्चों को रूरल एरियाज के बच्चों को सैनिटेशन के बारे में समझाया गया, उनको बुक्स प्रोवाइड करी गई. तो इससे बच्चों की नॉलेज, जैसे रूरल एरियाज में जो परेशानी रही है सैनिटेशन इश्यूज को लेकर, तो बच्चों को वो चीजें समझ में आई. Then we had conducted a water talk with the students of grade 4 in Gurgaon. In बच्चों के लिए पानी is like that they have opened a tap and water is available for them. तो जब इन बच्चों को ये बताया गया कि पानी की सप्लाई कैसे होती है, उन्हें पानी कैसे मिलता है, एक जीन्स बनाने के लिए कितना पानी लगता है, बर्गर बनाने के लिए कितना पानी लगता है, तो वो बहुत एक्साइटेड हुए, उनकी क्यूरियोसिटी बढ़ी कि पानी क्या है, पानी की के बारे में जानने की. एंड व्हाई वी शुड सेव वाटर, why our elders say save water. Like there was one of the student जो बोली जिसने ये मेंशन किया कि मेरी दादी बोलती है पानी सेव करो. क्यों पानी सेव करो, मेरा तो टैप खोलती हूँ पानी आ जाता है. So when she was told about the problems people face due to water scarcity, so they understood that why we should be saving the water. देन उन बच्चों ने क्विज बहुत एंजॉय किया. हालांकि क्विज एकदम सिंपल एक क्विज था, MS फॉर्म्स पे एक क्विज बना हुआ था, बट वो क्विज बच्चों ने बहुत एंजॉय किया. टीम्स वर मेड, टीम A, टीम B, and they enjoyed a lot. There was a competition, and they learned, and at the same time they enjoyed the quiz a lot. So I would like to conclude by saying that children are the agent of change. Teach them young for a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swati, for such an interesting presentation. So here we have a few questions, and also before taking up these questions, I would like to share with the audience. मैं सभी participants को बताना चाहूंगी कि मिस अमृता और मिस स्वाति ने हमारे साथ कुछ मटेरियल भी शेयर किया है. जो भी इन्होंने resources को रेफर किया है during the presentation, they have shared the links of those resources with us. We will be sharing that material, that PDF with you in the WhatsApp group जहां पर आप सभी added हैं. अगर आप added नहीं हैं तो you can mail your details to us at info@gurushala.co. info@gurushala.co. We'll be sharing this email ID in the chat section as well, so you can share your details with us. We'll add you to the WhatsApp group, and we'll share the material with you there. So thank you so much for such an interesting presentation. And this presentation not only not only made us aware about the reality, but also made us relook at ourselves, our actions, जो हम starting में भी बात कर रहे थे. और बहुत ही अच्छे suggestions यहाँ पर इस presentation के through सामने आए हैं, where we were I can recall where we were talking about teaching through daily life experiences, कि अगर हम as teachers students को बताएं कि पानी कहाँ से आता है, तो students might understand the importance of it. And especially इस तरह की activity की जहां पर हम lake पे लेके जाएं, या हम कंडीशन भी दिखाएं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल देयर इज अ लेक जिसकी कंडीशन अच्छी नहीं है, अगर हम वो भी दिखाएं तो स्टूडेंट कैन ऑल्सो पिक्चर दैट देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंस, जैसे उन्होंने लेक्स को पिक्चर्स में देखा है या इमेजिन किया और जैसे अब रियलिटी है. सो आई थिंक दैट वाज वन ग्रेट सजेशन जो हमें इस प्रेजेंटेशन के थ्रू मिला है. यहाँ पर बिफोर वी टेक अप आवर ऑडियंस क्वेश्चंस, आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन फॉर आवर पैनलिस्ट हियर. So we are talking here about sensitizing each other, sensitizing kids, right? So as जो हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स भी हैं, दे आर यंग एजुकेटर्स, वो आपस में भी एक दूसरे को सेंसिटाइज कर सकते हैं, एंड इन फ्यूचर दे विल सून बी एबल टू sensitize kids as well. But this process is not easy. We all know that. You all know that very well. So there are a lot of challenges in this area. So how do we overcome those challenges, and how do we keep the motivation, especially our motivation, up all the time? So if you can throw some light on that.
That's a very good question, and I think it's a question that's not only for children, it's a question for adults as well, right? How do we keep up our motivation? And I think it goes back to being parts of communities like Gurushala, for instance, where such important topics get spoken about, right? And a peer group of people with a common cause. So you can only teach children when you believe in these things by yourself, right? So how do you handle this? How do you teach children? Are you also closing the tap, as Dr. Sridar said, right? Are you making sure your taps at home are closed? So how do you constantly renew your commitment to this? Is something that we can keep through peer groups like Gurushala. We run, for instance, a newsletter on water in India Water Portal. So you can become parts of communities that talk about these issues constantly. So you're engaged with these issues and keep your motivation high.
Right. So we have another question with us here. We have a participant named Manpreet Kaur. So इनका question है, how do we increase groundwater level? So if you can throw some light on that.
That's a superb question. Again, so one of the easiest ways, right? There are differing complexities to do this, but the simplest way is to recharge rainwater. So all of us receive rain wherever we are, and if we are able to recharge our rainwater through having a recharge pit or even putting it back in the well. Kerala, for example, runs this program called Malapolima, where the idea is that they create recharge structures and they put the water back in the wells that give them water through the year, right? Or several states like Tamil Nadu has also made it mandatory that you have to recharge your groundwater through creating recharge pits for rainwater. So that is the easiest way to do it.
Right. So we can see that in the comment section, a lot of comments, suggestions and questions are being shared with us. So we will quickly take these two questions which are quite similar. So I'm just going to show these questions on our screen. So एक question है मुकेश कुमार दुबे जी का, जो पूछ रहे हैं, how can we sensitize the family members or head of the family, because family is of course the first agent of socialization and learning. We have another similar question asked by Miss Marina Chingsubam. She's asking, how do we keep up our motivation towards our children's family in order to cooperate with us? So I think यहाँ पर family को कैसे sensitize किया जाए, and especially as educators, as teachers, we know that we have to collaborate with parents in a lot of cases. And considering the situation that we are in, where students are mostly with parents than with teachers, so that is something collaboration with parents and a communication and cooperation from parents and become important. So how do you suggest that we can sensitize parents?
So one of the first things is that we have to start looking at conservation, right? Whether it is water, whether it is energy, we have to start looking at this as a part of the whole year's curriculum. So it's not key one day, today is World Water Day, so I'm conserving water today and I'm talking about it with my children and then it's over, right? Now I'm going to move on to the next thing. So how do you sustain that interest? So one of the things that I am a parent of a 4-year-old. So one of the things that I find very interesting that the school does, for instance, is they do something where every week, even in the online mode, 2 children have to come and talk about the topic of save water, right? So either they are making simple models and explaining, and these are 4-year-old children. So obviously it's very simplistic, right? But the parents are also then heavily involved in that exercise because they are helping the children think through the concept. They are helping the children learn a story, right? So that's one way to do it, which becomes an easy way to engage your parent through your children, right? The second way to do it is to give the children activities like Swati presented that goes back to talk to the family, to talk to their communities, right? Whether it's the older children running campaigns in their communities, and several of us who live in apartments in urban India see this, right? When the waste segregation rules came in, the first people who came and knocked on our door were not the Residents Welfare Association presidents, but children who said, hey, this is wet waste and this is dry waste, and how do you separate it, right? So to make sure that, and when children have to do those kinds of things and go back and engage with their communities, it's the parents who actually play a role in ensuring that the children go door to door. Right? And then they also get committed to the issue. So simple activities that they can take back, do at home, age appropriate, can be a way to engage the parents.
Right. So, thank you so much for answering these questions and for giving such an informative and inspiring presentation to us. We have a lot of suggestions in the comments. So, participants, we would like to thank you as well for sharing these inspirational messages, suggestions, and comments. Please keep your questions coming. We have the experts with us for this session. So we'll also have a question answer round session once all the presentations are over. So once again, I would like to thank our experts from India Water Portal. And I would like to invite here, on this note, I would like to invite our next expert. So we have with us Miss Neha Raghav. So a very warm welcome, Neha, to this panel. So here I would like to take a moment and introduce Miss Neha. Yeah. So, Ms. Neha Raghav has been associated with WWF India since 2015. Her career is anchored upon 2 decades of extensive experience in teaching, curriculum development, capacity building, and education program development for government and private schools across the country. She will be speaking today on the theme of the role of technology in sensitizing children about biodiversity and wildlife conservation. So here I would hand over the screen, I would hand over the stage to Ms. Neha, and I would request all the participants to please keep your questions. She's our final expert for this session. After this, we'll have question and answer session. We also have 2 students who will be joining live with us from different states of India who have some questions for our experts. So stay tuned for that. So let's move ahead to Ms. Neha's presentation.
Thank you so much, Alina, for having me for this talk. And before I begin my session, I would also like to, extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Sridar, Ms. Swati, and Amrtha for taking us through this, beautiful sessions focusing on energy and waste management, and of course, with so much of focus on water. So, of course, these are the key issues. Before I even you broadcast my presentation, I have a little story to share. So I am a teacher and I love storytelling. So I have a little story to share, and it's a real story that I'd like to share, since I have student teachers with me right now. So we have been working with a school in a little village next to Bhopal. There's a village called Nador, और वहाँ पर एक छोटा सा गवर्नमेंट स्कूल है एंड उस गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में उनको न्यू बिल्डिंग ऑफर किया गया था बिकॉज दे हैड रन आउट ऑफ स्पेस इन द ओल्ड बिल्डिंग. सो उसका जो प्राइमरी स्कूल था उसको उन्होंने एक छोटा सा नया बिल्डिंग दे दिया राइट नेक्स्ट टू अ फार्म लैंड. और एंड ऑब्वियसली द ओनर्स ऑफ द फार्म लैंड वांटेड टू एनक्रोच and they would make sure that these people the children in the school do not have access to drinking water, and वो अगर कोई अपना गार्डन बनाने की कोशिश करते थे तो वो उसको भी डैमेज कर देते थे. So बहुत सारे challenges के साथ में जो है बच्चों ने वो नई बिल्डिंग में आना तो शुरू किया, लेकिन बहुत सारे challenges थे. 80 बच्चे खाली उस स्कूल में थे और 2 टीचर्स और एक प्रिंसिपल जो कि मेनली एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का काम देखते थे. एक टीचर जिनसे मैं बहुत ही क्लोजली एसोसिएटेड हूँ एंड आई लव टू टेल हर स्टोरी, आत्मा मैम. और उन्होंने हमारा WWF के कुछ प्रोग्राम्स वहाँ चल रहे थे जिसमें कि फोकस उन्होंने वाटर का एक इशू उठाया क्योंकि बच्चों को ड्रिंकिंग वाटर अवेलेबल नहीं था उस न्यू स्कूल बिल्डिंग में. उनके स्कूल के ठीक सामने एक हैंडपंप था जो कि बिल्कुल ड्राई था. जब उनको पता चला कि किस तरीके से वाटर टेबल डिप्लीट हो रहा है, क्या कर सकते हैं, जब डिस्कशंस होते थे, क्योंकि आत्मा मैम भोपाल से डेली नादौर जाती थी, तो उन्होंने वहां पर भी कुछ एक्सपर्ट से बात करी और किसी ने सोल्यूशन दिया कि एक सोकपिट बनाओ। तो ये 2 टीचर्स और ये 80 बच्चे, इन लोगों ने एक मिशन उठाया कि वो अपने स्कूल के सामने जो एक छोटा सा हैंडपंप है जो कि ड्राई था, जिसमें सालों से कोई पानी नहीं था, उसके साथ में एक सोक पिट बनाएंगे। सो रेन्स जब वहां पे आई तो उन्होंने एक पाइपलाइन अपने स्कूल के छत से डाइवर्ट कर दिया टुवर्ड्स द हैंडपंप और वहां पर एक सोक पिट बनाया जहां पर पानी कलेक्ट होने लगा। Over a period of 1 season of rains and a period of 4 to 5 months, in the month of January this year, they realized कि हैंडपंप में पानी आ गया है। एंड उन्होंने इमीडिएटली म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन को इन्फॉर्म किया एंड इट वाज सच अ ह्यूज इंस्पिरेशन। वन स्मॉल सक्सेस बाय लिटिल एफर्ट्स फ्रॉम अ टीचर sort of inspired everybody in the school and each and every person in that village to work towards water conservation. This is a story that inspires me so much because the kind of influence that a teacher can have, it's unfathomable for any one of us. I have been a teacher myself for nearly 15 years in the classroom working with the children, but the kind of influence that the teacher can have is something that has come to realization now when I watch other teachers. Of course, I had my own ways, but when I watch other teachers, I sort of really get influenced. So ये छोटी सी कहानी है inspiration की. Before I start my session, अब मैं आपको अपने presentation में लेके आती हूँ और and I think so I would really congratulate Gurushala on placing these presentations so strategically कि हमने पहले बात करी एनर्जी मैनेजमेंट की, फिर हमने बात करी वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट की, फिर हमने वाटर से रिलेटेड इशू और किस तरीके से उसको एड्रेस किया जा सकता है उस इश्यूज पे बात करी. नाउ वी आर इमीडिएटली मूविंग ऑन टू अ सेशन व्हिच इज गोइंग टू बी focusing on how teachers can plan. Of course there are tons and tons of resources, लेकिन टीचर्स के ऊपर बहुत प्रेशर रहता है कि मेरे तो मैथ पढ़ाती हूँ मैं, मेरा तो इतना प्रेशर है करिकुलम का. So how do we kind of see to it that all of it goes very beautifully together? So to put things in a perspective, allow me to share my screen. Yeah, can you all see the presentation, Alina?
Yes, we can see your presentation. So you can open the presentation one screen.
Okay, so I will just stop sharing once, and I think so the entire screen is showing. Yeah, so just give me a moment. Yeah.
Sure. So I'll just quickly take this moment to remind all the participants to keep their questions coming. And in fact, I would request all the other experts also that you can also note down your questions, and we'll have a short cross-panel discussion once our last presentation of this session is over.
Yeah, just a moment.
Sure.
Yeah. Is it showing now? Yeah. Perfect.
Yes.
All right.
Neha, can see your presentation.
Yeah. All right. So fantastic. I think so. I am Neha Raghav. I've been a teacher. Alina has already introduced me, and I love to enjoy, and I will be, which is why I started with a little story. And moving further to put things in context, let me tell you where I come from. A Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF India. I don't know how many of you have heard of WWF India, but WWF India has completed 50 years in the country of the conservation work. And we, as an organization, believe that education is a globally recognized solution to all the problems. Okay, so environment problem is right in front of us, and education lies at the crux of all the problems that we are facing at the moment. Education, when I say, it doesn't just mean educating a child. Too much pressure on children. Okay, let's put some pressure on adults, on teachers, on parents, on community, and every single stakeholder, the government, everybody. Okay, so that is how, we kind of work. We were internationally, we were founded in 1961. Currently, we are present in 100 plus countries doing conservation work. We have over 5,000 people across the country, across the world, who are sort of supporting the work of conservation through us. They may be supporting us as volunteers. There are people who are, of course, including staff. There are a whole lot of donors who support our work all across the country. Those who believe that conservation, environment conservation, is the only way through which we can build a sustainable future. In the country, we are working in 75 plus locations. That includes the field offices and state offices. So you can see Panda is one of the most recognized logos. People may not know what Worldwide Fund for Nature is, but they will definitely know a panda, recognize Panda as the logo. And that's my experience. All right, so our mission is to basically stop the degradation of the planet's natural environment and build a future in which humans live in harmony with nature. सिंपल मिशन साउंड करता है पढ़ने में, लेकिन जब चैलेंजेस की बात आती है तो आप जिस तरीके से हमारा काम इवॉल्व हुआ है, एक प्रॉब्लम से दूसरी प्रॉब्लम से तीसरी प्रॉब्लम समझ के हमने अपना काम डाइवर्सिफाई किया है, वो यहाँ पर जाओ, लेफ्ट साइड में आप 3 पिक्चर्स देख रहे हैं, उससे समझ में आ जाएगा. जब WWF की स्थापना हुई थी तब प्रॉब्लम ये थी कि कुछ स्पीशीज डिसअपियर कर रही थी. जब प्लास्टिक का इन्वेंशन हुआ तो प्लास्टिक का इन्वेंशन हुआ भी इसीलिए था ताकि वो एलिफेंट पॉपुलेशन को बचाया जा सके. इसके साथ एक और कहानी सुनाऊं. एलिफेंट के टस्क्स जो होते थे, जो दांत होते थे, एक्सटर्नल टीथ होते थे, उनसे बिलियर्ड बॉल्स बनती थी. ओके, तो एक मिस्टर हयात थे जो कि वाइल्ड लाइफ को बहुत प्यार करते थे. उन्हें कहा यार कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा, एलिफेंट्स के नम तो एकदम लोग मारते चले जा रहे हैं सिर्फ ह्यूमन एंटरटेनमेंट के लिए. उन्होंने क्या किया कि चलो एक ऐसा मटेरियल बनाते हैं. तो उन्होंने एक अवार्ड रखा $10,000 का कि जो भी इसका सोल्यूशन लेके आएगा, बिलियर्ड बॉल्स को टस्क के अलावा कोई और मटेरियल लेके आएगा, उसको हम ये अवार्ड देंगे. एंड बहुत सारे इनोवेटर्स आए और उन्होंने प्लास्टिक का इन्वेंशन किया. ऑफ कोर्स जो प्लास्टिक उन्होंने बनाया था वो बहुत सॉफ्ट था, लेकिन डेफिनेटली वहां से एक वेव शुरू हुआ एनवायरमेंट कंजर्वेशन का. ठीक है, सो WWF ने भी, और 60s का जो डेकेड था वो टोटली कंजर्वेशन की बात करता था. तो हम लोगों ने आइडेंटिफाई किए वो स्पीशीज जो कि सबसे ज्यादा क्रिटिकली एंडेंजर्ड थे इंडिया में, और उन स्पीशीज पर हमने काम करना शुरू किया, जिसमें राइनो, टाइगर. इनफैक्ट WWF इंडिया, जब प्रोजेक्ट टाइगर 1972 में इंडिया में स्टार्ट हुआ था, तो WWF प्लेड अ वेरी की रोल इन द इनिशिएशन ऑफ दैट प्रोजेक्ट. बट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम वी रियलाइज कि एनिमल्स को हम तभी बचा सकते हैं जब हम उनका होम बचा सके, उनका घर बचा सके, उनका हैबिटेट बचा सके. And that's how our work grew from protecting these animals to also protecting their habitat. And we identified certain critical regions which support the survival of these animals. While, we worked on protecting the landscape, we realized ये habitat destruction क्यों हो रहा है? It's because of us. हमारा जो एवर ग्रोइंग फुटप्रिंट है, लाइक डॉक्टर श्रीधर सेड कि आप में से कितने लोगों ने फोन बदला है पिछले 2 सालों में. टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी जल्दी बदल रही है कि वी फील द नीड टू हैव न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी, हैव आवर हैंड्स ऑन इट. तो हमारा कंजम्पशन जिस रेट पे बढ़ रहा है, द वे वी आर यूजिंग वाटर, द वे वी आर यूजिंग एनर्जी, द वे वी आर प्रोड्यूसिंग वेस्ट, आवर फुटप्रिंट इज मैसिवली ग्रोइंग. Then we started to work on, reducing humanity's footprint. अगर छोटे से टर्म में आपको footprint समझाऊं, footprint is basically humans का impact environment पे. यानी कि हम अपना लाइफस्टाइल जिस तरीके से जीते हैं उसका क्या इम्पैक्ट है. The way we consume, the way we waste, it entirely has an impact on the environment, and that is our footprint. Growing footprint means हमारा consumption बढ़ता चला जा रहा है, हम waste बनाते चले जा रहे हैं. What is really interesting to know that human beings is a very unique species. We are the only species on the planet that produces waste and has the capability to pollute. Okay, no other species on the world, because nothing else in nature is a waste agar aap dekhenge to. So that is something that we all need to understand, and that's what we sort of began to work on. I want to show you a little report. Like Miss Swati also mentioned, that WWF is a scientific organization, and every 2 years we come out with a report called the Living Planet Report, and it is basically a health card of the earth, of the planet. जो जैसे आपका बच्चों का रिपोर्ट कार्ड आता है एग्जाम के बाद में, इसी तरीके से WWF एक रिपोर्ट हर दूसरे साल में पब्लिश करता है. ठीक है, तो ये छोटा सा वीडियो है जो कि आपको ग्लिम्पसेस दिखाएगा कि इस रिपोर्ट में हमारे प्लैनेट का जो हेल्थ स्टेटस है वो क्या है. तो मैं इसको प्ले करती हूँ.
Humans can be the smartest creatures that have ever lived on the planet. But because we're here,
Neha, I would just suggest if we can increase the volume a bit.
I think I will have to just check once.
To the world, we're destroying the natural world that supports us. We know this because we've collected evidence all around the world. Ways.
Otherwise, it's okay. You can sort of summarize,
Okay. Okay, I'll do that.
video in the end.
Because my speaker is 100%.
You could think of it as a health check for the planet and a prescription for how to help it recover. We write these reports every couple of years, and the results get more terrifying every time. Here's the shocking new headline for the 2020 report. Since 1970, in just 5 decades, our planet's wildlife populations have plummeted by around 68% in size, which means there's far fewer as many amphibians, reptiles, fish, birds, and mammals. And 68% is just an average. If you look at freshwater creatures, their population sizes have gone down by about 84%. Not surprising, since up to 90% of the world's wetlands have been lost in the past 3 centuries. And when we say lost, what we really mean more often than not is destroyed. And if we're honest, people have been central to that destruction. Not intentionally, in most cases, but just by us not thinking about the consequences of our everyday actions. The things we eat, the things we wear, the choices we make. And by big companies who put profit before the planet, exploiting our natural world to get rich quick. And by governments who don't pass strong enough laws to stop it happening. Too many people have been carrying on that nothing is wrong, ignoring the alarm signals the planet has been sending us for years. Ice sheets melting, forests burning, seas rising, extreme weather. Our Living Planet report makes it clear that disaster is not inevitable. We can turn things around. But we need to shout louder about how serious things are. The good news is we can all play a part in helping to fix it. The first thing we need to think about is food and the way it's produced, as this is one of the biggest causes of habitat loss and destruction. We can make a lot more space for nature just by changing how land is used and what we choose to eat. Switching to a planet-friendly, more plant-based diet is the biggest single step forward we can all take. Growing plant crops uses far less land and burns up with far fewer greenhouse gases than producing meat, so we get delicious food and free up space for nature. The climate change emergency affects wildlife as well as people. We can all help cut down greenhouse gas emissions by switching to 100% renewable energy sources, like wind, solar, and wave power, for our homes, workplaces, and transport. And we need to focus on what are called nature-based solutions, where we work with nature rather than against it. A great example of this is planting trees in urban environments to help improve air quality, carbon, and support our personal well-being. It can also help us put pressure on politicians to pass better, stronger nature laws to make sure essential changes happen fast enough and will stick. As the world rebuilds from coronavirus, we need to invest in nature. Economic recovery without protection of planet isn't a recovery at all. As our Living Planet report points out, the world needs to change direction fast. We've got to bend that downward curve back up. We can reset our relationship with the natural world by putting nature at the heart of all our decisions. Working together is excellent.
Okay, so I heard that the audio is not very clear, but never mind. I can share the link to the video for all of you to watch. It basically, tells that we have lost 68% of the biodiversity in merely 3 decades. You can imagine, the way we have started to consume in past 3 decades and the kind of impact that we have. So nature is continuously declining. I don't know what is going to happen by 2050. It's been predicted that the world population is going to go over 10 billion. We are already short of resources. And what's going to happen when there will be nearly 3 billion more mouths to feed, 3 billion people demanding from this nature? There's already too much pressure on it. That with climate change, some of the coastal villages have already sort of gone under the sea. What is really interesting to know is people in Orissa, they have they are the owners of the land which is already under the sea. So the problem has grown so much bigger. But the good news is that we still have time. We can still do our bit to restore nature. So the biggest thing that you saw in the video was too much focus on food. Like Dr. Sridhar also mentioned that the amount of water that agriculture uses is immense, and that's the biggest it's like a pit of for fresh water all across the world. So how we eat food is another very, very important thing that we must sort of think about and talk to our students about it. All right, so moving on to the next slide. We must really need to know that it has already been predicted by World Economic Forum, by Niti Aayog, that if we do not reverse or curve the bend of nature laws, like you saw in one of the slides in the previous video, I showed you that if so 2020 has been declared as the super year for nature, because this is the year if we do not act, things will be out of control, and the damage which is going to happen to the earth is going to be irreversible. So the time to act is now. All right, and what can we educators do about it? What has been going on in this country? We just have 10 years, but if I take you through the history of environment education in India, in 1984, Mr. MC Mehta, you must have heard about it. He is one of the leading advocate and an environmentalist, and he has sort of come up with number of laws and policies. He has filed petition to come up with laws and policies for the environment. He visited in 1984. He visited the Taj Mahal, and he saw that the color was sort of turning yellowish, and he found out that it was because of the Mathura refinery in the proximity of this magnificent monument. And that's when he sort of started to file cases against all the polluting industries, forced them to follow the norms and be responsible for the pollution that they were causing. 1991 May, he filed a petition, and the apex court, the Supreme Court, came out with with the law that environment education should be mandatory at all levels of education. In 2003, until next 12 years, this law was there, but there was no action plan for this law. Agar abhi national education policy aaya hai, and we know that we need an action plan to implement it in next 2 years. So all the recommendations otherwise will go wasted. So that's exactly what happens. That next 12 years it took to come up with another law which sort of instructed the National Curriculum Agency, NCERT, to come up with a curriculum around it. It took them 12 years and then another 1 year to sort of put it into the syllabus. But environment education, unfortunately, is still seen as a good to have subject. It's still not on the agenda to a place where it can be said that it is very important to have environment education in school. In the first place, they need to understand what is environment education. Is environment education a subject? how do we address it in the school system? क्या उसकी एक किताब बना दें हम लोग, उसका एग्जाम लें? Should it be dealt in the same way as any other subject? But then NCERT again came up with the idea of infusion कि you cannot teach environment education as a subject. एक और subject बना दोगे जिसका कोई application अगर नहीं करेगा, उसको real life से connect नहीं करेंगे, उसको contextual नहीं बनाएंगे, तो this environment education will have no meaning to it. All right. And then in 2010, this whole agreement was finalized, and it was applied to the entire formal education system. Despite that, most of us do not know how to implement environment education. 2020, we have the national education policy which has come out, and the action plan is being formulated at the moment, which is of course going to be rolled out by 2020. It does talk about organic living. It talks about contemporary topics like design thinking, global citizenship. But for someone to be able to understand these terms, it is very important that we focus on the teacher education as well. Definitely a big shift is happening, a lot is changing, education system pura badal raha hai. But then what is most important, to also bring the teachers to speed so that they also are equipped. आप देखेंगे in most of the cases, जैसे मैं अपने घर में भी बात करती हूँ, the amount of technology and ease with which my son uses technology is far more than how I do it. In schools also, you will see, if you give a technology in a child's hand, children don't fear from experimenting, and then they learn far more than the teachers are able to even implement. They have too much on them already. So what do we do? So definitely that leaves us with a lot of food for thought. In the first place, it's important to understand what is environment education. Environment education must inform children. So everything that Dr. Sridar talked about, energy management, waste management, and Amrtha and Swati spoke about, managing water in a better way. It's very important to inform the children, give that foundation of knowledge to the children. It's very important to empower them with tools. Who will empower them with these tools? The teachers. You will create opportunities for them to go out, do research, look for local problems, give them with those 21st century skills. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि मेरे घर के सामने लोग कूड़ा इकट्ठा करते रहते हैं. Till the time I'm not impacted, I don't see it as a problem, and that happens in most of the cases. So it's very important to empower people with the children with the skills so that they begin to question. Problem sari humne khadi kari hai, but who will bear the brunt of it? Our children. Because 10 years from now, when things will be worse, our children will be adults facing these problems with the real world. Imagine आपको किसी ऐसे नए शहर में भेज दिया जाए जहां आपको बोला जाए कि यहाँ पर पानी नहीं है, यहाँ पर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं है. Can you imagine the amount of pressure you will be under to be able to deal with those problems? And nobody has ever told you how to deal with those problems. And that's exactly what our children will land into, because we are continuing to damage the world. We do not know what to do about it, and we have very little time left. What are we doing about it? And our children, when they grow up, they will have all these problems standing in front of them, and they will be expected to be superhumans. Everything expected from children. But what is the role of adults and other stakeholders? WWF India, of course, runs all these programs. I'm not going to get into the details. These programs don't just address or cater the children, but also adults and citizens. So we have volunteers who are the youth, and the senior citizens also who want to be a part of our program. They come and volunteer with us for plantation, cleanliness drives, and a whole lot of other projects that we kind of run. So definitely, sorry, to coming back, empower them, create opportunities for them to take action. Environment education is not something which can just be taught. उनके लिए action की opportunities. पहले school एक safe ecosystem है जहां पर वो इन सारी चीजों को practice कर सकते हैं, and उसके बाद जब वो real world में जाएं, यानी कि when they go back home into their communities, into their families, at that point they should be able to create an impact by taking action. So in my home, I choose. So of course it's COVID times, and I am still not managed to get help in my house. So I wash the utensils myself. I do not let any other member of the family to wash the utensils for simple reason. Because when I wash utensils, I make sure that the flow of water is minimal. I don't leave the tap open, and the amount of water I use to clean the utensils is 1/3 of what everybody else does in the house. All right, so I am that conscious. I mean, I am not just a practitioner of environment education, but also a practitioner of sustainable living, and I am extremely passionate about it. And I often pick fights with my neighbors for this. Okay, not that I'm encouraging you to pick fights, but we want to create a generation who knows how to question others when they see something wrong. Of course, you will have to become conscious yourself, start practicing those things, and then start telling others, start questioning them. आप क्या कर रहे हैं? आपका tank overflow कर रहा है. Kindly put a device or an alarm to see that you do not waste any water. So these are the solutions. We may not have all the solutions at the moment. Moving further, of course, learning is a journey for life, and of course, through environment education, this becomes more real. This becomes a lifelong thing, because you continue to practice and you continue to explore new things. There is another video I have which I am not going to show you, because the video there's some issue with the sound, but it does talk about when all of this, until March 2020, the whole world was sort of talking about environment education, talking about literacy, numeracy, everything. Suddenly the world changed because COVID hit us. All right, we were all sort of bound in our homes. We did not know what to do about it. हमें कुछ पता ही नहीं था, हमने सोचा ही नहीं था कि something like this will happen, that and we will not be able to step out of the house. And at this point, we all started to analyze. अच्छा, सबसे पहला challenge था how to fight with the current situation, how to come up with solutions to deal with the COVID situation. The second was, people started to analyze, why did COVID even happen? But the thing is, what is interesting to know is that the signs have been there for past couple of decades, where SARS, Ebola virus, स्वाइन फ्लू जैसी जो डिजीजेस थी, वो आकर के हमको टच करके चली गई बिफोर दे बिकेम अ पैंडेमिक. Okay, Ishita, noted. So when COVID came, people started to say कि bats की वजह से हो रहा है, but we totally forget to realize that जो species boundary है वो इस वजह से break हुआ है, because we are all meddling with nature's ways. We are going on cutting forests, and जो distance wildlife और human beings के बीच में होना चाहिए था, वो continuously shorter होता चला जा रहा है. So of course, COVID has changed a lot for us. With this, what are we expecting our children to become? They become these superhuman beings. Okay, they all become ninjas. हम expect करेंगे कि हमारे बच्चे, जब उनको हम इतने सारी problems के साथ छोड़ के जा रहे हैं, they become thinkers, they become communicators, they become the problem solvers also, problems that we have created. They all become conservation leaders, and everybody runs to the children with all kinds of solutions to educate them, because children lie at the helm of education. All right, but who has created the problems? Even though, yes, we need to have a two-pronged approach, where we are definitely have to work on conserving the natural environment right now to mitigate the impact. The second will have to be to prepare the future generation so that they do not repeat the mistakes that their ancestors have done. What is the solution? Some path has already been laid out for us in the form of sustainable development goal. Now, sustainable development goals were set out in 2015 to be achieved by 2030, but the latest reports have already said that we are far from achieving these goals. All right. So what do we do? All right, and you will see that all the sustainable goals, if you see over here, are sort of linked. All right, quality education is what we are focusing upon at the moment, but if there is no SDG 3 that we are working on, there is no good health. What is the meaning of quality education? You cannot impart quality education without ensuring that your children have good health. There is gender equality, there is clean water and sanitation, there is reduced inequality. So you will see that all of this is interlinked. Try teaching a child who is already hit by climate action. All right, so nature and education, literacy and environment education will have to go hand in hand. You cannot say कि बच्चे को पढ़ा दो, उसको employable बना दो आज से 10 साल के बाद में, लेकिन environment education को अभी छोड़ दो, हम बाद में देखेंगे. It cannot be done that way. It's very important to take both the things together. All right, and it has been accepted that environment education cannot be taught in isolation. It's very real because it's immediately next to us. All right, so education, definitely we will all agree, since we all are from this particular space and arena, that it is the most powerful weapon if you want to change the world. All right, and we are all looking at that big change, and Swati was continuously saying that we need these children to become change makers. How do we do that? I have some really small, quick strategies to share with you. Number one, connect them with nature. Do they even know? And trust me, I believe that in rural areas, people are as disconnected from nature as they are in the urban space. All right? Because they see nature as a threat. When you learn about human wildlife conflict, when elephants raid into people's farms, they see it as a threat. In retaliation, they kill the wildlife, and they, without realizing how important is wildlife for our own sustenance, how important is diversity for our own survival. Okay, so it's very important to tell children. Abhi COVID times when we are not allowed to step out of the world, outside the house, we can connect with nature from our balconies. We can connect nature from our windows. Every morning, when I hear birds chirping, I try to recognize which bird could that be, and every time I hear a new call, I just run to my window or run to my veranda to see which bird has visited my balcony. Okay, and to have more and more birds and butterflies, I have just planted a few host plants and left a bowl of water to invite these birds to my balcony. So these are some of the things that teachers can do. Very simple things teachers can do. Give them, expose them to nature, help them explore the wondrous world of nature. And at the end of the day, you will only care for what you love. You care for your family because you love them. You begin to care for nature when you begin to love nature, and connecting children back with nature is one of the very important steps to do that. Spark curiosity. This is going to ensure that they become lifelong learners and they begin to explore nature on their own, even when a teacher's influence is not there. That is, when they reach home, they should be able to tell their parents, आज मैंने इस चिड़िया के बारे में पढ़ा, और आपको पता है ये चिड़िया वर्ल्ड की सबसे ज्यादा लंबी माइग्रेटरी बर्ड है, सबसे ज्यादा लंबा डिस्टेंस. तो इस तरह की क्यूरियोसिटी आप उनके अंदर जनरेट कर सकते हैं थ्रू सिंपल कॉन्वर्सेशंस. The third thing is inspire action. It's very important. सबसे पहले मैं भी यही बोलती हूँ कि सबसे पहले आप किसी को ज्ञान देने से पहले उसको अपने जीवन में उतारना बहुत जरूरी है. इसलिए टीचर्स का रोल मॉडल होना उतना ही क्रिटिकल हो जाता है. I cannot tell my neighbors don't waste water if I am wasting it myself. I cannot tell my neighbors आप waste segregation करो when I'm not doing that in my own house. Okay, so that's very important. When you tell people, do it, show them in practical. Okay. I will do that, Ipshita, so don't worry. Alina, sorry. Quick one. Involve and engage them. It's very important. Participation is one of the key components of environment education. All right. And what are the various areas where you can create all of these things, infuse all of these things within the school ecosystem? Since you are all going to become teachers in school, definitely school spaces. क्या मेरे स्कूल में एक छोटा सा किचन गार्डन बन सकता है तो कहाँ बन सकता है? क्या मेरे स्कूल में एक छोटा सा वेस्ट सेग्रीगेशन का एक्सरसाइज होता है? क्या मेरे स्कूल में एक छोटा सा कंपोस्ट पिट है? एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन क्या क्या चीजें कर सकता है? एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल लूंगी. वन ऑफ द स्कूल टीचर्स आई वाज इंटरैक्टिंग विद ऑर्गेनाइज्ड अ सेशन विद द स्कूल्स प्लम्बर, जो पाइप्स ठीक करने आता है, जो कि एक्चुअली लीकिंग टैप्स को फिक्स करने आता है, तो उनके साथ बच्चों का एक सेशन रखा. उन्होंने स्कूल के इलेक्ट्रिशियन के साथ में बच्चों का एक सेशन रखा. सो these are some of the things that you can do without sort of getting deeper into it. मैं आपको curriculum and evaluation बताना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि आप लोग सब lesson planning करेंगे when you all become teachers. How will you kind of bring environment education in action through the infusion approach? When I say infusion, किस तरीके से different environment education topics को आप अपने लेसन्स में और अपने सब्जेक्ट के साथ में इन्फ्यूज कर सकते हैं. एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल है यहाँ पर. हम ज्योग्राफी की टीचर अगर मैं एग्जांपल में ले लेती हूँ, कॉन्टिनेंट्स आपको पढ़ाना है. सबसे पहले आप ये चाहते हैं कि आपका कोर जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो बच्चों को आ जाए, वो कॉन्टिनेंट्स को और मेजर कंट्रीज को समझ ले। अब यहाँ पर क्या इन्फ्यूजन कर सकते हैं, माइग्रेशन एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है साइंस में, जो कि एनिमल्स में बहुत जो है उसको इन्फ्यूज करना है अगर, तो कैसे कर सकते हैं। एक छोटी सी एक्टिविटी है कि आप एक पर्टिकुलर बर्ड ले लीजिए जो कि माइग्रेटरी बर्ड है, और उनको बोलिए कि वो कौन कौन से कॉन्टिनेंट्स में ट्रैवल करती है। Okay, and then talk a little bit about migration in animals. You have also taught them about continents, and at the same time you have kind of opened another avenue for your children to sort of think about. So I will share this presentation with you so that since I'm really running fast past this whole thing, you can sort of do that. Infusion is possible with every subject. I have given you one example. Social sciences में जब history की बात होती है, there's so much of traditional wisdom. Sustainable fishing का concept है जो कि आप पढ़ सकते हैं, उठा सकते हैं। उत्तराखंड में एक festival होता है इसके around, तो आप traditional wisdom, nature से related legends and stories आप लेके आ सकते हैं। बच्चों को बोलिए उनके घर में क्या क्या practices होती थी, जैसे कि मिट्टी के घड़े में, आपने सुना होगा, मिट्टी के घड़े में लोग फ्रिज बना लेते थे, उसके अंदर उसको मिट्टी के अंदर घड़े को गाड़ के उसके अंदर वेजिटेबल्स रखते थे, तो वो एक हफ्ते तक खराब नहीं होती थी। These are simple things that you can talk about in the children when you talk about sustainability, and it is possible to infuse it in each and every subject. Next, just 2 more minutes. Technology is definitely an enabler, lekin when you call it an enabler, there is a big but which has to be which is there along with it. As you can see that in the previous picture, children have in the urban area have access to technology and all kind of things, but if you go to the rural part, there is a massive digital divide which is preventing our children. Although COVID hit karne ke baad mein, we have all sort of resorted to remote learning. But what is the reality? The reality is this. Okay, it is definitely an enabler, but what is happening in the country? We may talk about, putting all the resources on the internet. Government has come out with Diksha portal with resources on a website. But what do we do when the reality is this? अगर आप कितने लोगों के पास में कंप्यूटर है, and कितने लोगों के पास में internet facility है, and then you are expecting children to learn. So it's a very big digital divide which has sort of really crippling the whole thing, and we do not have quick fix solutions for all of this. So I am leaving you all with a lot of thoughts, whereas teachers, you can sort of create a lot of influence. Some questions are there before us, but as teachers you can come back with whole lot of solutions, talk to people and explore more solutions if possible. Yep, thank you so much. Sorry for taking more than time allotted to me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Neha, for such an engaging presentation, and a big thanks to you for sharing interesting stories also. So I think आज हम सभी participants इस session को से एक ये story जरूर लेके जाने वाले हैं, especially more of a question जहाँ पर Miss Neha was talking about that, फॉर एग्जाम्पल हमें किसी ऐसे नए शहर में भेज दिया जाए जहां पर ना ही पानी हो और ना ही इलेक्ट्रिसिटी हो, सो क्या हम वहां जाना चाहेंगे? सो एक तरह से इसी तरीके का एक सिचुएशन है जो हम फ्यूचर जनरेशन के लिए छोड़ रहे हैं, या प्रोबेबली अपने फ्यूचर के लिए भी. So I think that's one question that we are definitely going to go home with, in addition to other questions as well. So thank you so much for that. And also, towards the end of your presentation, you focused on the interdisciplinary approach that can be used by teachers. Obviously, काफी टीचर्स का एक क्वेश्चन आता है जो आई थिंक हमारे पिछले एक्सपर्ट्स ने भी कवर किया था कि आई एम अ मैथ टीचर, आई वांट टू टीच मैथ एंड आई वांट टू complete my syllabus. I sometimes do not have time to talk about environment issues. So how interdisciplinary approach can use, and how in between, they can add some activities to do that. So once again, thank you so much for your presentation. Now I would like to invite two students who have joined from different states. So as you can see on our screen, we have with us Manpreet Kaur from Sant Nishchal Singh College of Education for Women, Yamunanagar, Haryana. And we have with us another student, Najmuddin from Diet, Adilabad, Telangana. A very warm welcome Manpreet and Najmuddin. So we hope you have a couple of questions for our experts. So on this note, I'll also add our other experts to the panel. So as we can see, we have on our screen with us Dr. Sridar, Miss Amrtha, Miss Swati, Miss Neha, and we have two students, Manpreet and Najmuddin, who have a couple of questions for our expert. So Manpreet, why don't we start with you and please share your question.
Yes, of course. Very good morning to all present here. It's really a good opportunity to learn very informative things from the online sessions going on from tomorrow. I have some queries to ask from the panelists, which are what are the effects of airports on wild animals, especially on the birds? And my second question is, what ecosystem services is are widely recognized modeling approach for various environmental friendly practice use. So what are the benefits of restoring ecosystem services in urban area? And my last question is, everybody is closing an eye towards environment, so how we being the future teachers can interestingly teach the environment so the students can start taking a serious step on environment towards the environment. Thank you.
So I think our experts can take up this question. Yeah. So I guess you can volunteer who wants to take up these questions, please. Yeah. So probably the first question, which was about wildlife, that how wildlife is being affected by airports. So I guess Ms. Neha, you can take up that question.
Of course, the biggest thing, I will not say that, the airports have a direct impact on, wildlife in that manner, because airports, of course, need a lot of space, and in general, the footprint of, building an airport in a particular place is very high. So obviously huge, and they also have to see that, these airports are built in areas which have clearance all around it. So definitely a lot of forests are cut down, and habitat loss is a very big consequence of building airports. So it has a direct influence on, already depleting forest cover in the country. And with depleting forest cover, you would know that automatically, the habitat loss is happening and the wildlife is getting impacted by that. Apart from that, you all know that busy airports also sort of, because of the signals they send out, they sort of disorient the birds and some of the animals which are migrating or traveling from one place to another. So these are the two big things that, building airports sort of lead to.
Right. So Manpreet, if you can repeat your second question and ask to the respective expert you want to ask that question to. Yeah.
My second question was that ecosystem services are widely recognized modeling approach for various environmental friendly practice use. So, my question is, what are the benefits of restoring ecosystem services in urban areas?
Okay. So Dr. Sridhar, if you can answer this question for us.
Yeah, I do, but there was a lot of glitch when I was. But he was talking about the ecosystem services and restoring, if I understand. So, of course, if you're talking about models, that is one of the methods to see how fast you can do it, but it's not a foolproof system. Definitely, there are improvised models that we are using, and we are coming to almost kind of fully fledged or the better result oriented. But of course, this is one of the methods. But I would say there should be a combination of traditional knowledge, people who have been there, and mix of all this together to achieve it. So most of all is the behavioral change, what all the panelists spoke about. And once we bring in the belongingness that we bring in, and we can definitely see the change. And I think the last question was the environmental interest among students. I think the first and foremost, I should congratulate both of you. With that interest, you are here to question us. So this is just the beginning. And in each and everything that we do, every step we take, every action we do. So these five things should be ours: who, where, why, what, and when. So once you start building these kind of things into minds of the younger children, then automatically they will start finding the solutions to it. And of course, they can always get the unknown answers. We are all there to do it. And of course, as teachers who are very closely working, you will be there to give them the wisdom. And when we don't know, I don't think there is no wrong in accepting. I don't know. Let me come back to you with the answer. So you can always get back to experts.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sridhar. Now we'll quickly move to Najmuddin, who has joined us from Telangana. So, Najmuddin, you can share your question with our experts.
You guys.
Now we can hear you. Najmuddin, I think there is a audio issue. You can try without your earphones, probably. Yeah. Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Madam, it is said that in coming decades we would have a great development in technology. So as we are going to have a development in technology, it is very assumable that we would have some sort of laws for nature and environment. So what ways we can adapt to maintain a proper balance between nature and development in, it may be in any sector.
Okay, so basically the question is about how to maintain the balance between our lifestyle activities and nature. So I would direct this question to our second experts, Ms. Swati and Ms. Amrtha, if you can take up this question.
I think that's a good question, and I think so. Two things he said. One is the general connection between day-to-day activities and reinforcing the need to look at nature and understanding that. I think Neha covered that very nicely, right? So how can you infuse that learning, and how can you ensure that you talk about it in a way that everybody, the parent, the teacher, and everybody comes in. The other question that he was asking is about how do you maintain a balance between technology and nature conservation, right? So there it depends. That's a very wide question. So I'm going to say that there is some of it that's regulated by law. So for instance, you have the environment impact assessment. That is supposed to do exactly that. It's supposed to evaluate technological developments in the country, especially those, for instance, the airport question, right? If there is an airport coming up in an area, then is it going to be suitable for the area? What are the impact assessments you do? And what do you do with even the people who are living there, right? And there are also wildlife protection laws. So there are things that are already legal regulations in place that are supposed to assist with this exact thing. But I think it's important that we keep calibrating these laws, which is something that we don't do, to protect and conserve, right? Because one thing that after COVID it has come that everybody is talking about, wow, Yamuna is flowing again, and there is so much less pollution on the roads, and lots of people are actually enjoying that, right? So if you have to maintain it like that, then the common person, it's not only the government's responsibility, it's also everybody's responsibility. And I like what Neha also said, right? It's not about big technology, big projects, but it's also about making sure you wash your vessels with the least amount of water. It's also what Dr. Sridhar said, right? In terms of you have to understand that if you don't turn off the switch, then that's a problem, right? So there is impact on a varying scale. So Rajmani, that's what I would say, right? On the big technological issues, there are organizations like TERI, there are organizations like WWF who are constantly looking at these developments and trying to talk to government in terms of balancing it with ecology. And on the smaller scale things, which are the most important things, because we have 1.25 billion people, right? Those are things that are squarely in our hands for us to do. Is what I
Thank you so much, Ms. Amrtha, for quickly answering this question. So on this note, I would like to take a moment and thank two students who have joined us today, Najmuddin and Manpreet. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you, ma'am.
And
Thank you so
we
much.
hope your questions have been answered. Thank you. So Now I would like to open the panel for discussion amongst ourselves. So if experts have any question for each other, so please go ahead and ask. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, and this question, since India Water Portal has been working on education and have developed resources, and WWF India has also been working in the space of education for past 50 years, and we have tons and tons of resources. Despite that, in the schools ecosystem, there is yet not time and space that has been created by design so that they can impart environment education in the schools. What are you doing? I was just want to understand, because we are at the moment really facing a lot of issues in terms of teachers pushing back the entire subject and the concept of environment education. So what is it that you would suggest to the teachers today, who will be, of course, going to be teachers in the schools? So what would you advise?
So, Neha, that's a good question. And I think one of the things that we definitely are interested in, right, is even in relooking our own material to say how interesting is it to the people that we want to talk to, right? And how do you present this material in manners that are easy to absorb? So that is one thing that we are definitely looking at, and we are trying to also do more and more partnerships, like these partnerships with Gurushala, and you had mentioned Diksha before, right? So where all can, because one thing is that there's a lot of content available, right? So how do you make this content? But on the other hand, a teacher who actually is trying to access these resources doesn't know where to look for them, right? So so the supply and demand have to speak to each other, right? So what are these forums that that other people have great content, right? And that's also a focus. It's not only about self-created content, but even through the presentation, if you've seen what other people have done, how do you bring that to the fore? So one thing is to put it on the portal, but the other thing also is to look at strategic partnerships with organizations like Gurushala, and with platforms that reach out to teachers to connect and see how these conversations can be kept flowing. So that's definitely something we think is important.
Thank you.
So on this note, I would like to thank all the experts who have joined us today for this session. Thank you so much. Your presentations were very informative, very inspiring, and in some cases eye-opening as well. So I think हम सभी participants, हम सभी आज इस session के बाद हम एक चीज को जरूर समझ सकते हैं कि it's not just we cannot just talk about it, we cannot just only discuss about it, but we also need to keep relooking at our own actions. अपनी डेली लाइफ एक्टिविटीज से लेकर कैसे हम एज फ्यूचर एजुकेटर्स इस इंफॉर्मेशन को शेयर करेंगे विद kids and with our peers as well. So once again, thank you, Dr. Sridar. Thank you, Ms. Swati and Ms. Amrtha. And thank you, Ms. Neha, for joining us for this session.
We thank you, and
Right.
thank all panelists. Thank you all. Hopefully, we would connect at some other platform. Yeah. Best
Thank you
wishes.
so much
Definitely.
for bye-bye.
So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. So here I would like to say that we will just quickly take 2 minutes more, and we want to tell our participants that we have some engagement activities for you. So I hope you found the presentation interesting, found the presentation information, but the session does not stop here. We have some engagement activities for you that you can complete after this session. So जैसे कि आप मेरी स्क्रीन पर देख सकते हैं, यहाँ पर we have a task for you. So इस task में I'll quickly tell you what you have to do. आपको www.gurushala.co पर लॉगिन करना है. वहां के टीचर कम्युनिटी सेक्शन में जाकर ह्यूमंस विद नेचर नाम की एक टीचर कम्युनिटी है जिसे ज्वाइन करना है. वहां पर आप देखेंगे कि एक अटेंडेंस फॉर्म होगा. Filling attendance form is mandatory for all the participants because it will act as a marker for your attendance, and there you will also find two questions, two situational questions for you. So you can answer either of the two questions. One is, how do you use experiences from community in your teaching? आप अपने community, अपने आसपास की community से experiences को कैसे लेकर अपने teaching में लाते हैं? For example, जैसे हमने presentation में भी rain water harvesting का example लिया था daily life से, और water scarcity के बारे में बताया था. Second question is, what is the importance of nature and daily life examples in your teaching? कि कैसे आप nature को अपनी teaching में लाते हैं? तो अगर मैं quickly एक example दूं, तो my teacher used to give me this one example where we used to talk about how nature is so disciplined that everything is always on time. सूरज एक समय पर निकलता है और एक समय पर अस्त होता है. तो इस तरीके का दो एग्जाम्पल्स हैं जो मैंने आपके साथ शेयर किए हैं. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, so this is one task that you can do. Second, we also have an interactive quiz for you, a quiz competition for you. And इस quiz का जो theme है वो है, how well do you know the innovation in technology? So we know that we have a lot of young participants with us here today. So I would recommend you take up this quiz and see how well do you know the innovation in technology. Moving ahead, we also have a week-long competition, a week-long drive for you all. As you can see on my screen, the name of this competition is Reimagining Education 2020 competition. In this, you have to create a content resource. So like a PPT or a video or a PDF, and you have to post it using the publish content feature on Gurushala. Or you can also write an article, write a poem, write a short story, or write an opinion piece and get a chance to be published on Gurushala. So these are 2 to 3 activities that we have for you. So before you reconnect at 4 p.m. today for our next workshop, you have these activities to explore. So I will just take a moment and quickly take you to Gurushala and show how you can complete these activities. So if you can see on my screen, this is how Gurushala's homepage looks like. So सबसे पहले आपको www.gurushala.co पर जाना है. आप देखेंगे कि ये स्क्रीन यहाँ पर है. इस तरह से ये होम पेज दिखेगा. I have already logged in. तो आपको सबसे पहले साइन इन करना होगा if you're a first time user. Then once you have signed in, आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पर लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पर टीचर कम्युनिटीज का एक सेक्शन है. So you simply have to click on that section and then you will see that यहाँ पर काफी सारी communities open हो जाएंगी on different themes, different areas. First community here is humans with nature. So you have to click on join. So once you click on join, there'll be a pop-up saying you have successfully joined the community. Then you have to click on the name of the community. So all the tasks, जो भी मैंने अभी task और activities के बारे में आपके साथ चर्चा की थी, वो सब यहाँ पर हैं. सबसे पहले आप इस attendance form को भर दीजिएगा, because obviously it will mark your attendance. Then we have this engagement task for this session, जिसका आप हमारे साथ आंसर शेयर कर सकते हैं. आई विल ऑल्सो शो यू आप ये आंसर को कैसे शेयर कर सकते हैं. देन वी हैव अ लिंक हियर फॉर अ क्विज दैट आई वाज मेंशनिंग अर्लियर. तो आप इस लिंक पर जहां पर लिखा है क्लिक हियर, आप यहाँ पर क्लिक करके उस क्विज को भी अटेम्प्ट कर सकते हैं. एंड यू कैन सी दैट हाउ मच डू यू स्कोर इन दिस क्विज. एंड देन वी हैव दिस वीक लॉन्ग एक्टिविटी, जो कि आप इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के बाद आप इन दोनों में से कोई एक ऑप्शन को कर सकते हैं. तो चलिए मैं आपको दिखाती हूँ कि कैसे आप यहाँ पर जो हमारा फर्स्ट टास्क है, अपना आंसर शेयर करना टू एनी ऑफ दीज क्वेश्चंस, वो आप कैसे कर सकते हैं. सो एज यू कैन सी यहाँ पर क्रिएट पोस्ट नाम का एक ऑप्शन आ रहा है. आई विल जस्ट क्लिक ऑन दैट. तो यहाँ पर एक पूरा टेक्स्ट एडिटर खुल गया है. तो यहाँ पर यू कैन सिंपली राइट माय नेम इज एंड देन यू कैन शेयर योर आंसर, right? And you can share your school name and which state you belong to. And in case you want to share any link, तो आप यहाँ enter link पर कर सकते हैं. And in case you want to attach any file, you can also click here and attach any file, whether it's a video, it's a PPT, or it's an image as well. And then you simply have to click on done. So this is how you can post. So this is our first task. Second task is to attempt a quiz. So you can simply click here and attempt that. And the coming to this competition, this week-long competition, जहां पर आपको एक आर्टिकल पब्लिश करने की, गुरुशाला पर एक आर्टिकल पब्लिश करने का मौका मिल रहा है एंड अपना एक कंटेंट रिसोर्स गुरुशाला पर पब्लिश करने का मौका मिल रहा है. सो दैट आई विल आल्सो शो यू. सो जैसे आप यहाँ गुरुशाला के आइकॉन पे क्लिक करेंगे तो आप होम पेज पर आ जाएंगे. So express yourself is one section that is Gurushala's blog. So when you click on that, you'll see there is a box saying post your content. So you can simply click on this and then it will direct you to a box where you can share your suggestion, share your article. And then for our other option, for those who do not want to write a blog, who want to share a content resource with us, you can simply click on explore option and go on this publish your content, and then you can select this option of create now and submit your resource. So this is how you can complete these tasks with us. So once again, I would like to take this moment to thank all the participants who joined us today for this session. We hope you found the session informational and we hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you so much for joining, and we are looking forward to meeting you at 4 p.m. today for our next workshop.